Hello, everybody. Good evening. Welcome to Pacific Northwest, Missing Pacific Northwest Crimes Revisited. I am Samantha. I've got Kaylee with me as always.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us tonight.
It is April 25th, 2024. It's been raining here in the Pacific Northwest today.
Yep. I know a lot of people can't wait for summer, but we've had a really dry spring. So I'm somebody, as a true Pacific Northwest born and raised, I was a little glad to see it. You know, my flowers and plants really appreciated it. And we'll have
I on the
sunshine again soon.
I, on the other hand, just planted like mini romaine lettuce outside, and I'm like, oh no, you're gonna destroy my plants. Not yet.
No, not
But no,
yet.
they're still doing really good.
Okay, good.
Hello, Kathy. Hello, Sunday. Hello, Zane Lily. Um, Chaos Queen checked in a little bit earlier today. She's one of our mods. I'm sure she'll be here in a little while. So excited to have you guys here. We're doing a live. It is Cruising Through Clues, a drive and dive into the Kyron Horman mystery. And this is going to be good because I have been taking a lot of videos over by where Kyron School is. I took Kaylee with me last weekend to go take videos. So
Yep.
she's going to be able to talk about her perspective of the area because she's never been over there before.
Nope.
So super excited to just bring a bunch of videos, talk about the area cuz you know, Terri Horman drove around this entire area for excellent,
For hours.
yeah.
Hours, supposedly. And definitely, I mean, I only live 30 minutes away and I never have taken the time to drive out there. So when Samantha invited me, I was really, really excited to basically just finally go put my own eyes on these places. I mean, I live here in the Pacific Northwest, but when you actually see these roads firsthand, it really does make you wonder, what the heck? Even more than already with all the other information when you see like we barely passed any cars and it's like, what the heck, these places
Yeah,
are.
when we Mountain and Rocky Point, we counted 3 cars from the entire time that after we passed Logie Road. Only
Yeah.
3 cars. One of them being on Logie Road itself. So that's how far up we were. Kaylee experienced the popping of the ears like
Yep.
I've talked about before. You're up in so high elevation that your ears are popping. And you sit there and you ask yourself, what is she doing driving all the way up here? What in the heck would Terri Horman be up here for, you know, with her daughter in a vehicle? Not only does her daughter have an earache and her ears were probably popping, but you're way up here in the mountains doing what?
Yeah, especially with some of the things that witnesses have come forward to say, that they saw white trucks, you know, in these areas. And it's very, we went and read articles. I'm sure so many of you have read articles. And one thing that really does stand out is you could just step a couple of feet off of the edge of the road or into one of those gates, and anybody driving by would never even see you. It is so dense and dark, even on a sunny day. Um, yeah, just crazy.
Yeah, we had amazing weather too to be able to take videos and stuff. That's when I go out and hit the streets and go over there and put my feet on the ground. Either when I need to think about another live, I need to think about Kyron, I need some more perspective, or when the weather's really super nice, me and my husband are sitting here on the weekend with nothing to do. We want to throw some gas in the car, go buy ourselves some lunch, and go over there, sit on the bench at the school, or just drive around and look at the area and grab a hold of some more ideas. And me and Kaylee did exactly that. Me and her together, our minds together, we discovered a lot more than I ever expected while being up there talking through the case, while we're driving down the roads, while I'm telling her everything.
Yeah, just imagining, wow, could this have been, we know they were searching here. Could this have happened? Is this why? Just really bouncing ideas back and forth.
So, hello, I don't know if I'm going to pronounce your name right. Is it Shaylee Montage? Montage? Yeah. Hello. Hello,
Welcome.
Shay. We'll say Shay or Shaw.
There you go.
Thank you for coming here. I don't think we've ever seen you here before. Welcome all new subscribers, all new members, anybody and everybody. We appreciate everybody that comes, especially when we're doing Kyron Horman, because it's been 14 years and we're always worried that people are forgetting about Kyron. We are having an event on June 1st, 2010 at 10 a.m. in the morning at
2024.
Skyline.
Sorry, you said 2010.
Oh my gosh. See, yeah, because I'm talking about Kyron.
There we go. Sorry.
June 1st, 2024, 10 a.m. in the morning at Skyline School, Skyline Elementary School in Portland, Oregon. If you show up, we're going to have some refreshments. We're going to have some snacks where everybody's going to meet. We're going to pass out some flyers because it's going to be 3 days before the anniversary of 14 years that Kyron's been missing. Love to see anybody that's in the area out there, because we're just going to paint the town. Yep. Paint the town with flyers.
That was not planned.
No, it wasn't.
That's just what we plan on doing. I love it. And I'm so excited. It'd be awesome to meet the local Kyron community here. And I'm not sure if there's going to be like a car wash this year through Kyron's parents or anything or what. But if there is anything like that, we'll also share the details as well. This is just something that Samantha and I are doing because we really care and we really do want to remind everybody Kyron is still missing. He still needs us. He still needs everybody to come together, to look for him, to talk about him until he comes home. So.
Hello, Mrs. Barbecue. She's watching in the background again. Bigfoot Barbecue is on his way to camp from our youngest for 4 days, but I'm sure he will watch when he can. That's awesome. Thank you for being here, sis. Yeah, so let's just hop right to it. I'm going to put up a video. It is of a search area that I found. And I found it because of a clip that I saw from a reporter that had Desiree out searching and everything with him. I saw in the background this building. And I'm like, Kaylee, I know this building. Look.
Yes, you're the best at that. Landmarks.
So I went up there and I took a video. I have muted it because we're just going to talk about it, but I need to show you guys this because it's literally right around the corner from Westwind Farms where Dede Spicher was working. She had 50 volunteers. Some were family and some were strangers, and they traveled all the way, some as far as like Florida, to come and search with her. They did the search on the 5th anniversary of Kyron's disappearance in 2015. Sadly, it was mentioned that they were not looking for an alive Kyron. Let me throw this up. Where can we find it?
They were probably looking for evidence. And I mean, after so much time and they're searching in the woods, that's all they can be looking for, evidence.
Yeah. So the building in the back, I'm pointing the arrow down. I cannot show the video. I'll post it up in our group with the link and everything. Kyron Horman Case Revisited on Facebook. You can come over there. You can see this full episode that was done. It's actually really good. Desiree talks. Desiree breaks down. She's out there searching when they find bones, and they looked really similar to human bones. It was a very emotional thing to watch, but I can't put it on here because we always get like a copyright. It's never a strike, but it's just a copyright thing that I can't. So here's the picture of the building, and yeah, like I was saying, sadly, it was mentioned that they weren't looking for an alive Kyron. The search grid was actually based off of information um, that Desiree got recently before she did the search. And she said it was confidential sources that told her about the tips. She said those tips led her to this particular location and several other locations. She also mentioned dreading the searches for Kyron. Here is that same building. This is the parking lot. This is the starting of the video that I took. So that's the video across the street. But yeah, she mentioned dreading these kinds of searches.
Well,
And
yeah, I just, it's like, you hope to find something, but you also have that immense dread that, like, wow, it really will confirm my worst nightmare.
yeah, she says she just continuously goes because she just wants to find answers. She wants to find Kyron.
Yeah.
And she said, unfortunately, we know things and think things that we think. She said, what she did that day. And we all know when she says she's talking about
Yeah.
Terri. She also says that it's her sweet little Kyron. We're looking
Mhm.
for my sweet little Kyron. Yeah, it was a really disheartening video to watch. She gets very, very emotional. But yeah, she got the information from confidential sources. So the road that you're looking at that's right there is actually Skyline Boulevard. And this big gravel area is the corner of Skyline Boulevard and Germantown Road. Not Old Germantown Road, Germantown Road. And yeah, as you saw my finger pointed, I was just explaining because these videos will also be put up as videos themselves in our video section. This is the corner. You can kind of wave to Tracy. He's sitting back there in the car waiting for me to do my video. The road right there to the left is Germantown Road. And this is where they all gathered to talk. This was like their I couldn't think of the word of this when we talked the other day either. It's like their central point where they start their
Their
search.
command center.
Yeah, their command center is what they always call it. Their little command center where they sit there and talk. One of the men was actually saying, like, if you see anything, don't pick it up. Make sure to, you know,
Take pictures, call police, flag it, that
yeah,
kind of stuff.
they kind of like holler back and forth to each other. They bring over dogs. They bring over, just people in the area or whatnot. Where the cars are traveling right there is Germantown Road. Hello, Kim. Good to see you. We're staying on our neck.
Always.
And yeah, you can kind of see the area back behind there. Now, they do show pictures and a little bit of a video of where she was searching at, which is actually, I think, down Skyline a little bit and then down towards Germantown Road a little bit. Here I'm leaving and I'm taking a left. I just get on the road, and right as I start getting to this corner right here, I even did a longer little video to stop it and pause it. 500 feet, Old Germantown Road. Are you guys already getting my drift here? Old Germantown Road is where Westwind Farms is, where Dede worked. So this parking lot where they're doing this search, where confidential sources give this information to Desiree to be searching in this area, is not far from
It's
Westwind
not a
Farms at
coincidence,
all.
in my opinion. Yeah,
No.
that's a strategic search. There's a reason, and yeah, it's right over here. This
And
area
this
just,
road right here is Old Germantown Road and Northwest Germantown Road.
yep, this is where police were very interested to know, did you see either of these women or a white truck?
Yeah, I just
I
can't believe
wonder,
how close this is to that corner.
can one of the Terri supporters ask Terri if she drove on this road? Like, I would love to know if she would tell us why. Was it only because Dede worked here, or did she say she drove here? I would love to know.
Right to the left, right now, as we're coming around that corner, you can already see Westwind Farms. I'm just going to take my car now and park in, the first little drive that I can, but you're at Westwind Farm. And in the video, I literally say it took me 1 minute and 14 seconds to get here. 1 minute and 14 seconds. Now you have Desiree Young saying in a Facebook post that 2 women were seen pulled over on the side of Old Germantown Road, putting things from one truck to another.
Oh,
This is Old Germantown Road.
Yeah.
You also have Dede putting herself in this location because she says in her one and only interview that she did with Blink on Crime, if you want to believe it, because Blink on Crime is the one who wrote it, but the story goes that she was working along the fence line closest to the road at the end of the property, and this is one of the spots that's at the end of the property closest to the road.
It's literally right off the road. That's just crazy.
And when me and Kaylia drove down there, we went to the other side of the farm, which has actually been done in other videos. You guys can check it out. Hey, Chuck, what's up? And when you look at that, right around the corner from the other side of the property, there is a whole entire road where no houses are, no nothing, where she could have just walked off, got onto the road, hopped in somebody's car if she wanted to.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I mean, anybody could have pulled up even here and she could have hopped into a car. We're not saying that that's what she did. We're speculating a little bit here, but this is how close it is to this search that Desiree did. And, since 2 women were seen on this road that look like them, passing one things from another, like if I was Kyron's mom, even without confidential sources, I would be searching this area, which they did. They searched all of Old Germantown Road several times. They searched Westwind Farms several times. And here I'm just trying to show you guys the big parking lot that's there sitting on the corner around right where we were, right where the search started, to just say like, this could also be the meeting spot on the corner of Skyline Boulevard and Germantown Road. Now, I don't know if everybody knows it. Dede was a runner. She was a long distance runner for a long time. We know she kind of like let her body go a little bit before Kyron disappeared, but this would not have been a far walk for her. Obviously, you guys just seen how close this was.
Yeah. 1minute and 14 seconds would have been nothing. Mm-hmm.
So just walk up here and meet somebody up here, or for her to park her own, either borrowed, rented, or some other vehicle for her to hop into and then leave to go meet Terri. All speculation.
I know. I was going to ask, like we have some viewers here. I would like your guys' input because Samantha and I try to be fact-based or evidence-based, where we have sources to prove what we're talking about. We don't just really speculate all the time. But there are things like, where we were talking about together, like, is that something that you guys don't mind us throwing out there, because we do try to keep it so fact-based? Like while we were talking about this, just as an example, I was thinking like, if they were totally capable of buying burner phones with fake names, what if they had fake IDs and one of them rented a car or a truck? Like,
right.
I mean, like, that's totally a wild speculation, but what if? There are definitely ways that things can happen, and we don't know what the police know. We have no idea all the evidence that they know. So it's just kind of crazy to think about.
Well, and then with the speculation is speculation. And I think it's okay for us to talk about the speculation, which we're going to do a lot today. But also, you guys can bring a different kind of perspective because the things that I'm not talking about, the things that Kaylia aren't talking about,
Might
if
pop
you
in your
guys
brain.
have an idea,
Yeah.
give us an idea. Because here's the thing, it's been 14 years. Let's keep speculating. Let's keep coming up with ideas. It's
Yes.
important to do. Because
Right.
sometimes
You're right.
if
True.
we really think that, hey, this speculation is pretty good, I will type it out and send it to Detective Tabor. I will. I'll be like, hey, we came up with this idea, jot it down and send it to him.
You really
So-
don't know what they know and what is the one thing that they're missing that they have never considered, or that, yeah. So, I mean, right. And there have been internet sleuths that have helped police solve crimes before. So,
And so since we're here on Germantown Road, I want to show you guys the Forrest Park area that's also on Germantown Road. So from that corner, let me go back real quick so I can give you guys the real visual here. So right here, that's the corner where the silver car is. Now, if I were to travel right, and that's going north down the road, I would end up, and it's not very far, not even a couple of blocks, or if you want to say less than an eighth of a mile, you would end up right here. I am pointing to Germantown Road. So from right here, if I took a left, you're going to get to that corner of Skyline and Germantown Road. Okay, hope I'm giving you guys a visual. This is a Forrest Park entrance. This is also not far at all from where Dede was working. This also has a parking lot. Another place that a vehicle could be picking somebody up. Another place to keep a vehicle for the day to go to. It's literally, I'm seriously, not even an eighth of a mile or a couple blocks right past that stop sign. So this was really interesting because Forrest Park is gigantic, and there is this thing called what? So now I'm gonna forget about it. What is it called? There is a trail that goes from all of these different forest parks, and it's the Wildwood. Thank you. I'm glad I did it on the video. Wildwood Trail on Germantown Road, but the Wildwood Trail goes up to Springville Road. This is the Wildwood Trail here. It goes all the way down to Newberry Road. It travels through the entirety of Forrest Park. And I'll pause it here in a second because on the map, it's going to show you how much distance it covers. And I just found, I did not know that this trail goes through the entirety. So right there, that yellow trail, and in the center there, you can kind of see the "you are here," like right smack dab in the middle. It's actually right above the second line that ends in the middle. Right up above that, that's where I was standing. And all that yellow to the left and the right is that entire Wildwood Trail. I just want to point it out. I don't know if they took any Wildwood trails. I would say probably not, because people like to hike in the Pacific Northwest.
yeah.
Are you really going to take the chance of walking around with Kyron with you down all of these trails to be seen? I don't know.
Right. I know. They did search, though, in areas of Forest Park, right?
They searched a lot of areas. All of these little, when you're up there, you see Forest Park entries everywhere.
Right.
And I have heard, I mean, I can't say how many, but I would pretty much speculate that they have searched every single entrance and then into the woods some of every entrance.
Probably. Are all those gray dots are the entrances? Right? Maybe not.
You know
I mean,
what?
there
I
may
don't
even be
know.
more, but I know I remember seeing
I would
tons of
say
signs for
I
that.
would say yes because the lower of the yeah, I would say yes. I was trying to figure out what gray dots you were talking about. Now I finally see them. But yes, those are all Forest Park entries. I can't remember how much. Kalia, can you look up on your phone right now and let's tell everybody how many acres are in Forest Park because there's a lot. I mean,
Forest
it's
Park, yes, it's massive. It's 5,200 acres with more than 80 miles of trails.
right. Yeah, it's crazy to
Massive.
think of.
Yeah. They lived in a very, very rural part of Portland. I mean, I knew they lived in Portland, but when she was doing stuff at the store, it was more closer to town. So I kind of envisioned it like maybe not like a suburb. And I knew Kane didn't live
Right.
in a suburb, but man, I did not picture these to be so rural and so wooded like that. Like, and just just feels like a very like I when we described the roads, I said it's these sleepy roads because it's like they just seem like, you know, they don't see a ton of excitement out there. It's just
Yeah. Kim says, I am leaning towards that because of the lack of timestamps when it happened. Plus, Terry's story caused more questions than answers. Heck, I
true.
believe in mediumship, and one said she landed Kyron or handed Kyron to Dede.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've heard that before. And I mean, Terry caused the confusion on purpose. That's why she was, throwing out all these different narratives. That's why she was telling them I went to Michael's. That's why she was saying she went to Albertsons. She went a couple of places. They were able to verify it. But let's just honestly say law enforcement was on a wild goose chase. They really were.
Yeah. And she was changing her story. She wasn't being honest. Her bank records weren't matching what she was saying. Her cell phone was pinging. And Kim continues her comment saying people believe that she handed Kyron to Dede while she drove around making her timestamps with her cell phone
Oh,
and
yeah, I talk about
pinging
it all the time.
places. And I mean, if this is a premeditated thing between the two of them, that's 100% a totally valid theory. I would not put it past that being part of the plan. Because one had their phone and was driving all over and was
Mhm.
unaccounted for, and the other was unaccounted for and nobody could find them. And
Because they left their phone at the property
yes,
where
and
she worked.
exactly, purposely couldn't be tracked. And I don't know if I've read this anywhere. I was reading an article today that said when she got back, she had a text that she missed. And I don't know why that's significant or anything, but I found that interesting because I've never read that as a
Well, they text
detail.
messaged her, they called her, they looked for her, nobody could find her on the property.
Yep.
One person even says that she abruptly left the property. Chuck Anderson says here that, we are all here to speculate and share ideas. And I think folks in true crime realize you are not saying this is fact 100%. If it's fact, you'll tell us the difference. And it's
I
true.
appreciate that. That's a good perspective.
Okay, so let's moving on. What do we got here? I got so many videos, you guys. This is so awesome. Um, Another thing I would also like to mention about Germantown Road real quick is if you follow Germantown Road north all the way down till you can't go no more, you end up on Highway 30. Highway 30 is where Terry herself has said that she was. Highway 30 is where law enforcement has said that Terry's phone pinged in that area. Just wanted to let everybody know Germantown roads end up down on Highway 30. And let's see, while we're talking about Dede, let's just throw up this Bruce McCain video real quick. I found this. It talked about searches. It's not talking about any of the searches we're going to talk about today, but I found this clip and I had to share it. So I'm going to throw this up real quick.
Portland is attorney Bruce McCain, a former captain with the Multnomah County Sheriff's Office. Bruce, good morning to you.
Good morning, Chris.
Let me ask you this. 2 new searches this weekend. So what is behind these searches? What are they looking for?
Well, again, we should not confuse these weekend searches with the ones that were happening 9 weeks ago. The initial search, of course, was a massive search and rescue looking for a presumably lost and alive 7-year-old boy. This is a different type of search. This is going to be a forensic search for physical evidence of criminal activity. One of the clues, of course, is going to be the spacing of the searchers themselves, what they're looking for, and what we just heard in that last report is that it does look like the grand jury process is starting to squeeze some critical information out of people that may have been reluctant to tell investigators without the power of a subpoena.
Is that the reason why this friend Dede Spicher was able to come forward now with these tips at this time in the grand jury process?
Well, as we talked about before, Chris, on this very program, Dede Spicher was not reportedly very cooperative with the investigators. But when you put somebody under oath in a grand jury and a penalty of perjury, and perhaps even with the threat.
When you put somebody in front of the grand jury, see, I told you it said something about the grand jury. Because we've always, Kaylee, give me some insight here. Is that what he's saying here? That she talked to the grand jury, or did she tell law enforcement this information?
Well, I mean, when you're talking to law enforcement, you're not under oath, but at the grand jury, you are. So I have always thought or heard that she didn't testify when she was called. But
I've heard both. I've heard a lot of people say she testified in 2010, and I've heard a lot of people say that she hasn't. We've actually talked about the fact that she didn't, and maybe there was one time that she didn't, and then there was another grand jury hearing that we and you have not been able to find that
because
she
it's so
actually
secret.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because he's literally saying under oath, speaking to the grand jury, Dede Spicher gave up some kind of information after she had not been cooperating, is what I'm getting out of this.
Yeah. And he was a captain of Multnomah County, so he had buddies there. I would not doubt for 1 minute that his sources were legit.
Okay, I'll continue. I'm sorry. I had to say something because I heard that again, and I've listened to this like 4 times today, and I heard it what I wanted to hear that time.
Threat of additional prosecution for their own criminal conduct that tends to squeeze information out.
For their own criminal conduct, and he's still talking about Dede. So he's saying and mentioning something about Dede and something having to do with criminal conduct. And yeah, my sis here is saying, have they done any searches around Vendetta? Let me see. Vendetta Retreat. It's off of Highway 30, and there are several trails there that are not well traveled all of the time. It is described as a sanctuary. You are not the first person to talk about this, and actually, isn't that the same place that Susie mentions that has those abandoned wells?
I was thinking the same thing. That's why it sounded familiar.
Yeah, and we recently just turned this information over.
Yeah.
I
So,
will
yeah.
find out, though, if that is the same information that we turned over, because I know that I've heard about this retreat before.
Yeah, it definitely sounded familiar to me too, and I was wondering. So when you said that, I'm like, it must be if we both are feeling like that, but we'll confirm it.
Yeah, but he's saying criminal here when he's talking about her. And then Heidi mentioned, our mod in our Facebook group had mentioned whether or not this criminal conduct that they're speaking of, Dede, was purchasing those burner phones.
Maybe, right.
I mean, and me and Kaylee had this long conversation about burner phones. And I was like, hey, Kaylee, you be the other girl, not Dede, and I'll be Terri. Hey, would you buy a couple of, burner phones?
Right.
Is that not weird? Do you ask your friend that? And what would someone do? Would they, like me, a child is missing, then the stepmom asked me if I would go buy burner phones. I am calling law enforcement. I am saying, hey, she wants me to go buy burner phones. So at that point, did law enforcement say, yeah, go for it. Go do that. We need you to go do that. Or did she ever even tell law enforcement?
Right.
Or, you know what I mean?
Well, there's a reason that, in my opinion, there's a reason why Dede was treated differently than the woman whose initials have been released. And you could only find her real name if you really, really, really do digging. They purposely tried to protect her identity while blasting Dede's. And in my opinion, there's a reason, because they cooperated differently. The way that they were conducting their business with police were different. And that other woman who supposedly bought the cell phone with a fake name using cash for Terri, who knows? I totally agree. That's what, when we were talking about it, that came to mind. What if she did call police and say, hey, she approached me, and the police said, do it, and let's see what we can get.
Or just do it. Now we know they have these phones, and now we can do surveillance. Now we can
Yeah.
use other different technologies to hear these burner phones. Now we know they're using other whatever. So,
Yep.
Yeah.
Sounds.
But these, I mean, we may think about several other things to talk to you guys about that we like kind of realized on our trip. But yeah, the speculating going back and forth while we were actually together is amazing. And sis, me and you need to go do that too. Just an FYI, like me and you got to go for a drive so I can show you too, because I would love to hear what you think of that area and everything too. Just in the mind of somebody else to sit and talk to, it's helpful.
Yep, it is.
Sorry to keep interrupting this video, but
we have a lot to
So
say.
it looks like Dede's opening up. And again, these investigators, this is not a search and rescue. This is a forensic search for criminal evidence, more than likely something very specific that Dede told them about. And it could even very well be one of these untraceable cell phones that they're trying to find.
If it is a cell phone that they are in fact looking for, how could that help tie Terri to this case?
Well, Chris,
do you notice that even the reporters, like, how can this help tie Terri to this case? Everybody knows she's a person of interest or a suspect. It may not be said, but everybody knows it. Everybody.
One of the biggest problems we've talked about before is just trying to make a connection between Terri Horman's involvement and this idea that Kyron's being stashed by an unknown third party. If they can find these phones and use the great forensics that they have now to try to find out who Terri Horman was talking to immediately after June 4th or thereabouts, that might give them a tip as to where Kyron actually may be today.
Mr. McKenna, I know they have this tip line that is active each and every day. How many tips are they getting still to this day, 2 months after the fact? And is it proving useful?
Well, again, they're reportedly getting up to 10 an hour. And the problem, of course, is that there's so many tips coming in that they have to be vetted and screened. And one of the problems actually they're having here is that some callers are reporting that they're not getting any feedback back from the tip line. So if they can work out that problem to encourage people to keep calling and let them understand, you may not get a physical phone call by a detective, but your tip is still very, very important to the case.
And you guys don't know how many times I get messages and comments on our Facebook group that says exactly that. I called the tip line and gave them information. I haven't heard anything. And here's the thing. They don't have to call you back. They're looking into it.
It's
They
an
don't have to
ongoing
call you back.
investigation. Yeah,
Yes.
you're not a witness necessarily unless they really, really have
Unless that-
determined if it matches what they already know.
Yeah, and if it's a good lead or a good tip, I'm sure they're going to call back and ask more questions about it, of course, and really follow up on it. But with 10 an hour coming in just 2 months after his disappearance, they don't have time to call every single person back. They're looking for Kyron.
Yeah.
And I got a hot date with my sis.
Love it.
She wants to go out. I know that Chuck has said a few things here, and I wasn't trying to ignore you, Chuck. So Chuck wants to know, in the murder for hire, did the landscaper give details of what Terri said? Did she just ask if he would do it, or did he let her talk and get into discussion as to where to dump him?
I'm glad you asked because this is something I feel like I have researched into. Part of the landscaper's deposition is publicly available through their divorce and custody court filings.
Mm-hmm.
I've read part of his deposition, and it doesn't sound like it was like cut and dry like we all think it was. It doesn't sound like she just straight up asked, hey, I'll pay, if you do this, you'll get 10 grand because my husband always carries 10 grand. It sounds like, honestly, she was manipulating him. She was leading him on. They were beginning to have like a texting affair or something. they had gone out to lunch before. Like, I mean, who goes out to lunch with their landscaper? You know, this was interesting. And he said that they went out to lunch and she had told him something about, this part is not confirmed. Another person a long, long time ago, before the court depositions ever came out and said, this landscaper was also my landscaper and this messed his life up. He told me what happened, and what happened was she was manipulating him and saying that Kane was abusing her and she needed to get out of this abusive relationship. And maybe this was something they could do. I don't know. And the landscaper was like, I don't know about all that, but there are services like domestic violence agencies and things like that that can help you through this and get you out of the situation. And when his deposition came through, you can't read all of it, but part of it starts where the Terri's attorney was asking him questions about this meeting at the restaurant, the last meeting at the restaurant, that when they were friends. And he goes on to say, I told her about services. And the attorney says, did you tell her what services to seek? And he said, no, I didn't tell her what services to seek. I just said, I know that there are services available. So it kind of corroborated what that other person had said. Does that make it 100% certain? No. But I'm just saying, I kind of believe that was more of the way it was. I don't believe it was cut and dry where Terri said, hey, if you do this, you'll get 10 grand. We'll both walk away and we'll never see each other again. I believe there was emotional manipulation, whether through a relationship or a friendship.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how she's kind of eased her way into the conversation. And when he politely declined, guess what? She was hiring another landscaper in April 2010.
Yep.
So that's kind of sketch.
And the fact that she wants you to believe that she can't speak Spanish, even though we have had somebody on our show that says that she went to school and can speak Spanish. She's married to somebody that speaks Spanish. She travels in New Mexico where they speak Spanish. She doesn't want you to think in any way, shape, or form that they could talk. She wants you to think there was a language barrier, and there wasn't. Just because he's asking for an interpreter, I am telling you now, I speak perfectly good English, but going into court, I wish I could. Well, that's why you get an attorney, so that they can pretty much be your interpreter and tell you exactly what's going on, because the legal mumbo jumbo just confuses me.
Yeah. And I mean, I totally agree. I looked into that point too. If you speak English less than proficiently, which is basically anybody that is English as a second language, or, you know, third or fourth language, it basically means, do you speak English like more than 80% of the time or less than 80% of the time in your life? And that's like the factor. If you speak English less than 80%, then they consider you qualify for these services. And I worked at a bank, I've mentioned this before, where I sat with people of all different ethnicities, all backgrounds, all languages. And I can tell you one thing for certain, nobody wanted to talk to me about signing their mortgage loan if they didn't understand English 100%. They would ask, do you have somebody that speaks my language? Or can we call the interpreter line, which we offered as the bank, because that was something we wanted to make sure they understood everything. And he was under oath. Why would they not offer that to him? This was a very serious matter.
Well, and he's got Facebook videos on
yeah.
his Facebook where he's speaking English too.
Yes,
So
he speaks perfectly fine English.
Yes, Zane Lilly says the fact that the journalist is saying if they can find these phones speaks volumes. These phones were never turned over to law enforcement, ? If their conversations were innocent and any wrongdoing regarding Kyron, why get rid of the phones and why not turn them in? Exactly. Well, you don't get burner phones unless you don't want people to know what you're talking about. So why don't you want law enforcement to know what you're talking about if you're not doing anything wrong? That's what I think. I always figured that the phones were turned in, and it's a very good point. Thank you for bringing that up, because yeah, it is mentioned in this report that, these burner phones, the information or whatever, if they find them. So, yeah, did they get the information? And don't forget, we have Desiree saying that burner phones were also used on June 4th. And they're talking about
yeah.
the burner phones that were bought when Dede went and stayed with Terri for 11 days at the end of June, which right then, while she's there staying with her, Terri lawyered up on the 28th of June and never spoke to law enforcement again. Never, ever spoke again. We've got lots to go through. So, Chuck says, great point about the reporter and the interestingly, if it was me being Terri, which thank God I'm not, for the news to say what they are saying, I think Terri would have started a lawsuit. Exactly. You would think after all of these years that she would have already tried suing them, but guess what? She can't. Because you know why? She can if she wanted to, but you want to know why she won't? Because she'd have to talk about Kyron.
Yeah, she does not want to put herself in that position where she's under oath and any circumstance. And you know what? I would like to point out there are tons of people who advocate so hard for the wrongly convicted, wrongly accused. Where's Terri Horman's foundation? Where's Terri Horman doing anything? She just totally allows to let this dark cloud of suspicion be casted over her life forever. She would rather live that way than clear her name. Like, that is...
It's crazy.
It's crazy. Speechless. No words.
Yeah. So we're going to look at another video now, and we're going to look at Springville Road. Now, I've done a video before on Springville Road, and I did the south side of Skyline, Springville Road. I didn't know there was a north side Springville Road, which just so happens to be a gravel road and a Forrest Park entry. And we know in 2017 that they barricaded up the roads, all of Springville Road, to search for Kyron. They had people rappelling down the cliffs on the hillside. We know that it's been talked about several times that the south side of Springville Road was searched, and they mentioned again these phones, these burner phones. And me and Kaylia left the gym that's over in Beaverton. And I told Kaylia on the way back over to this area, I want to take a new way to get to Germantown Road over by where Dede works, because I want to see how fast it would take me if I go up Springville Road. Guess what? It cut that time almost in half.
Yeah.
And we're driving along, and it dawns on me. I roll down the window and pretended to throw a phone out the window. And me and Kaylia just look at each other like, what the hell? Yeah. She could have, if Dede had met Terri in the area and was in her own vehicle coming back to go back to work, she could have easily either pulled over to the side of the road or rolled down a window and threw the burner phone that Desiree talks about having on June 4th right out the window, because that search on Springville Road was an evidence search. It wasn't a Kyron search.
Yeah, and it just dawned on me, and we looked at each other, and I'm like, why does that feel like that is exactly what happened right now?
It was weird.
Yes. It was like, yeah, it was definitely weird. And I could see it happening. So
So that sign was pretty much just saying that we're on Springville Skyline Road, and it had a little Forrest Park. And I saw this, and I'm like, I gotta go pee, babe. I didn't even realize that it was Springville Road. I saw a sign before this that said like restrooms or whatever. So I'm like, I gotta pee. Pulled in, and then when I left, I took this picture because I didn't realize where I was when I was there until I got there. And then I saw other signs, but we're going to go over that right now. So this is the north side of Springville Road, and the trail straight ahead where you can see the long yellow pole, that is Fire Lane 7. fire lane is mentioned in the book. It doesn't say fire lane 7, but fire lane and fire lanes have been talked about a lot in groups. And Desiree mentions the fire lane in the book because Terry's actually seen by a witness off of a fire lane, but we'll talk about that later. The sign there on the left is a Springville Road trail. So it's Springville Road. It's a trail. Isn't that weird? Like Springville Road just goes forward and ends up in the middle of the forest, and you can go down this fire lane or you can go down Springville Road trail.
Right.
When I got
That's
down here,
crazy.
I'm like, I'm where? I'm
Yeah.
what? And look at this. I mean, look at these trees. And I mean, right off of these trails, look, I mean, they're pretty wide trails, but I mean, to either side of me, left to right, and I do show here in a second, just how thick and how just so thick, you know, ferns, bushes, blackberry bushes, trees, just, there's just everything in this area. And here I am stepping over. Look at this ravine, you guys.
Wow. Just like
Boom.
St. Lily, these roads have really steep slopes, drop off.
And it's like,
Yeah.
it's like that through down this whole little trail. Me and my husband ran into this guy who had just got done hiking up with his family. He was wearing slacks and dress shoes. Okay. He was like, he goes, have you guys ever hiked this trail before? Are you guys from around here? And we all started giggling, including the man, because he was being very sarcastic, sweating to death. He was like, I did not know what I was in for. This hike was insane. And I guess they took this from Springville Road all the way down to the Germantown Road trail that I showed earlier.
Holy cow.
Yeah, I mean, Forrest
That's
Park,
crazy that it just ends and it's just trail.
boom. Yeah.
You know, I have read a lot of comments that a lot of people ride their horses around here. And I just look at that wide thing and I just envision just lots of.
I forgot to show you, Kalia, when we were driving down Skyline to go up to Dixie Mountain and Rocky Point, there is a sign on the side of their road that says horse crossing, be careful. There's a sign.
Oh my
Talks
gosh,
about-
see? Right.
Yes. So this again, the dotted line is just showing you that Wildwood Trail that I showed earlier. This is part of the Wildwood Trail, part of the Fire Lane 7, part of Springville Road. This area was searched. I'm trying to show you guys now, that's the parking lot. That's where you park. And then as soon as you walk past that gate, look where you're at. You're in the woods. Yes, there's a trail there, but you're in the middle of the woods. And let's not forget, Forrest Park is a rainforest. I always have to mention that because it just trips me out. That's
Yeah.
the gravel road. Straight ahead, it goes to Skyline Boulevard, which runs east and west in front of Skyline School, where Kyron Horman went. This isn't very far away from Skyline and Germantown Road. There's my little porta potty because I had to pee. But yeah, I'm just pointing out Fire Lane 7 and Springville Road because I had been looking for this area for a really long time and I stumbled upon it because I had to pee.
The universe brought you there.
Yeah, everything happens for a reason, right? Always
Mhm.
saying it. But yeah, it's just so crazy to think that you're just traveling along this road, you get here and boom, you're in the middle of the woods and you're in the middle of the forest. I mean, that guy, we were just literally cracking up after he left. I'm
It
like,
sounds
oh my
hilarious.
God, babe, he was in slacks and dress shoes.
Oh,
He
that's
looked so
funny.
exhausted, and his wife and daughter, they were from California up here visiting, and they did this trail. He said they had hiked for over 3 hours because he had to keep stopping, and his daughter, and they were wearing sweats and tennis shoes and everything else. You know, they looked like, but they were still sweating bullets. And I'm like, how steep is that? And he was like, it was either you're going straight down or you're going straight up. There's no in between. There was hardly any flat spots. He goes, I'm going to have to go to the gym, work out a lot before I ever do this again.
Oh, you know, I'm not gonna lie. I'm sure if I went and did a hike right now, it'd kick my butt too.
So let's see. We just went over Springville Road. I've got my notes sitting here. Thank you guys all for being here. If you like what you see, there's a link up at the top. You can become a member or you can just stay a subscriber. It doesn't matter to us. We just enjoy everybody here. We always appreciate everybody here. And it's glad to see more faces this live. I was really super excited to show videos, and each one of these videos are going to be posted individually as just their own videos with descriptions and other things that I've done to them afterwards. But I wanted to give everybody a chance to see them in a live before I actually put them up. Let's see, we went over that. So let's talk about Newberry Road, because that's the next closest. So Springville Road is east of Germantown Road, where Dede Spicher was working around the corner from. Newberry Road happens to be right smack dab in the middle between Skyline Elementary. I know I wrote this down, right? Hello, where's my notes? Oh, here they are. Duh. Okay, so yeah, let's talk about Newberry Road. Several things here, okay? Newberry Road is a halfway point between Skyline Elementary School and where Dede Spicher worked. Now, Newberry Road is also the same road where, written in the book Boy Missing, it says, let me get to this spot real quick. But this is Newberry Road, and there is another Forrest Park entrance that also is connected to that Wildwood Trail. Here's one of the first parking spots over to the right-hand road. And then, did we already pass it? I don't think we already passed it.
I didn't see it.
Almost there. Yeah, so Terri was seen by a witness on the side of the road in the truck. And she was asked about it. Here we go. Where the cars are parked here on the right-hand side of the road, and then right here where these cars are parked, this is Forrest Park right here. I'm going to read you guys a little bit out of the book Boy Missing. Thank you, baby. My granddaughter, she's bringing me my book because she thought I needed it. Thank you, sweetheart.
Oh, so sweet. I love
You
that.
want to come say hi? Come say hi for a second. Tell everybody's, don't say your name, okay?
Hi.
Hi. Nice to see
Everybody's
you.
saying hi. I love you. Thank you for being so good and quiet. You read a little bit of the book. Don't read the book, babe. She's been over there reading the book. Honey, you can't read that.
My kids are always asking me questions about Kyron, and honestly,
You already read 3 chapters?
Oh my
Oh my
gosh.
goodness. You're so smart. I love you.
Captivated.
Yeah.
It's a
Oh my
tragic
goodness.
story, but it's important to know, like, my son, he plays online games, and we talk about, like, on the Nintendo or whatever, he'll play Fortnite or whatever, and I always tell him the reasons why we don't tell people online, where you live or where you go to school, your name, all that stuff. And honestly, he knows exactly why, because he knows what happened to Kyron. He knows that he was taken from school that day, and he gets that bad things happen to people even when they don't want them to, so you have to be careful. It sucks, but
Ms. Barbecue says the visuals are such a great thing because people don't really understand how thick the terrain is here.
Yeah,
You can actually hide something in plain sight and it take ages for it to be seen. They live up in the mountains too. They live up in Cougar, Washington. I don't know if anybody knows where it's at. It's a very beautiful area. It's up towards like Mount St. Helens area. But she knows this area. And yeah, it's so true. But back to the video, Newberry Road. Let's talk about Newberry Road. Terri was seen on the side of the road on Newberry Road by a witness. Terri did not deny being there. the book Boy Missing, the quote says, the truck was seen pulled over on a fire trail, or fire lane trail off Newberry Road. Terri told police she might have been changing a diaper. Where was the diaper? She didn't remember what she had done with it. She admits to being there. Now I'm just talking, but that's what's in there. And it's true. Like, where was the diaper? And then she says she couldn't remember. We're all moms, and I have grandbabies. I can tell you where a diaper was or why I was pulled over to the side of the road, because you're not going to say I might have been. You know, if law enforcement needed to talk to me for any reason, I wouldn't be saying I might have. I would have known exactly what I was doing off the side of the road. Who's not going to remember that?
Right. Especially when later she changes her story about it. I mean, like in 2 different interviews she gave publicly.
Yeah. I mean, and it's just crazy. She admits to being there, though. She doesn't say she wasn't there. She just says she might have been changing a diaper. But yeah, like the book says, where's the diaper? She didn't remember what she did with it. Newberry Road, also another road that leads down to Highway 30, where Terri admits to being, where law enforcement says her phone pinged. And yeah, I mentioned it before, a halfway point, that's always gotten to me. A halfway point between the school and where Dede was working.
Right.
And then she's seen off of the side of the road here. When did she go here? That's always been my question. What time of the day did she go here? That's like it bothers me so much, because I feel like I could piece together little pieces or something if I knew. Now, when you get to the end and you're there sitting on Highway 30, if you take a left, you are about 1/8 of a mile away from Sauvie Island Bridge to go on to Sauvie Island. I didn't know that until we got to the bottom. I saw the Sauvie Island Bridge out of the corner of my eye, and I went, oh my God. The Sauvie Island Bridge is right here too. She admits to being on Highway 30, and they searched, Sauvie Island Bridge or Sauvie Island and around that bridge area so much, they have more information that we have. What do they know about Newberry Road? Where was she going? What was she doing there? Was she meeting anybody? Was she dropping Kyron off? These are all questions I'm constantly asking myself. What did you think about Newberry Road?
Oh, it definitely, I'm watching you drive, and again, no cars, not a single car. It's not a super traveled road. Look at all the huge shadows casted by these huge trees. Yeah, I mean, it definitely, I can't wait. Where I was really, really like, wow, was up on Dixie Mountain.
Yeah.
That's where I have this really bad feeling about up there. So yeah, I don't know.
Way back in the very, very background, way, way back. Can you guys see that arch at the end of the road up above the tree line? Just an arch.
Yeah. That's
it's like a line. That's Sauvie Island Bridge.
Good.
That's when I realized when we were driving down, because I see this out of the corner of the eye. I'm talking in the video. I'm trying to give everybody a good perspective of everything. And I see this bridge, and I instantly thinking in my head, oh my God, Sauvie Island Bridge is like right there. What the hell? Because I never had put that together.
I mean, I don't know if it's a super steep drop off, but if you were to just park and walk 6 feet, you would not be seen by anybody driving on the road. You would be completely covered by these trees.
Yeah, it's crazy. Good night, Sammy. I love you, baby.
They were searching private property, and, I know a lot of people came forward and said they searched my property, and who knows?
You can see Highway 30 right there. Sorry to interrupt you right there. That's Highway 30 right there to the left. And then, yeah, if you take a left right here, you would go down towards Sauvie Island. But sorry to interrupt you.
Oh no, that was pretty much my the end of my thought anyway. So perfect timing. You
Love
can
you,
make
son.
a scary movie on
Good
those
night.
roads. So true. I'm sure that many have. I mean, Pacific Northwest is a popular area for movies and stuff like that. I know, like Twilight had scenes shot here, and we had Grimm that was filmed here. I don't know if there's anything recently, but yeah, we have a lot of scary and pretty areas up here in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, it blows my mind. Okay, it just absolutely blows my mind that she's on all of these roads traveling around is what she says she's doing. Why? Why? Your
Yeah,
baby's sick. Why aren't you home? I mean,
right.
even if your baby's sick, I mean, okay, I get it. Some moms that might have to put their babies in the car to soothe them and take them for a drive. I've done it a total of 2 times, and they weren't my kids, they were my grandbabies. Neither of them were sick. I just couldn't get them to bed, and I'm like, I'm going for a drive. These kids are up too late. Let's go. But it does happen, and I'm not saying it doesn't happen.
Yeah,
But
we're not in denial about it, but she said
she
that
goes on with, yeah, go ahead.
she's parked for 30 minutes somewhere and rocked
Mhm.
the baby to sleep in one interview. And then on Dr. Phil, she told Dr. Phil her plan was to try to rock the baby to sleep. If she didn't get to sleep, then she would go to the, oh no, she was driving around trying to get her to go to sleep. And if she didn't go to sleep, she would go to the gym. And if
She
she
said,
did
"No
go to
go,
sleep,
no
right.
go." So I went to the gym.
And if she did go to sleep, she was going to go home. That's what she told Dr. Phil. So why the change in the story? And then she goes on to tell, I can't remember if it was People magazine or whatever, but the printed magazine that she gave an interview with, her literal words are, "What am I going to do? Go kill time at home waiting for Kyron to get done with school?" Well, you went home anyway. So
Yeah.
that's a
And
moot point.
while we were out cruising around, let's just talk about home for just a second, okay? We're cruising around. It hadn't been raining. I got the video done, and I was so thankful that we got one of the videos that I wanted to do done while we were up there before it started raining. And then it started raining. And I'm just like, started talking to Kaylee, and I'm like, it kind of gives us a little bit of perspective now that it started raining. And it made me think, I'm like, wouldn't Terri, if she was out, like doing something in the woods outside the vehicle or whatever, wouldn't her hair have had that, like, that really damp,
Yeah.
weird, flat look that your
Yep.
hair gets when you've been in the rain too long? And it's like, I wonder who would have seen her throughout the day to know if her hair had ever changed or whatnot. And then we started talking about her timeline and stuff, and we're like, you know what? Terri had time to go home.
Yeah.
She had time to go home and clean up, take a shower and everything, because she gets home, according to the gym footage, she shows up at the gym at 12:20. She leaves at 12:40. She's home by 1 o'clock. Kane doesn't get home until after 2, shortly after 2. She has a whole hour.
Yeah.
All she does is there's a little bit of computer use where she's posting some stuff on Facebook or doing an email or something after, 20 minutes of being home or something. And even then she's still got 40 minutes. And if we really want to talk about it, she could have went home anytime during the day, and we don't know because we're not privy to the information. And when
Yes.
we're told by law enforcement, when we're told by the detective that we know less than a tenth of the information, it leaves a lot more room for
Yes.
speculating.
All possibilities are truly open as to what her movements were that day, because we don't know what we don't know.
Right.
And I was going to say, what I find interesting is, she had all day, and we hear about these movements throughout the day, but not one thing that I never have heard once is when in any of this time did she feed her daughter lunch? I mean, that's a long time to go. My kids eat lunch, way before noon, and she technically is still driving around by that time. And then she still isn't home until what, 12:45 or 1 or whatever.
Well, if you really want to speculate, and if it really was planned out, like most of us think that it is, she probably packed a lunch.
Yeah, I mean, right. Because she cared a lot about her daughter. I just find it interesting that that's never talked about once. You know, like, I don't know. And
I
then
know.
we fed my daughter lunch. You know, that I feel like a cranky child. I mean, it's not like the child was super duper sick. Yeah, it didn't sound like she had a fever. She was still bringing her around publicly and stuff. But
Mhm.
she was just cranky. And so, I mean, my kids, yeah, I know not all kids are the same, but I know snacks make my kids happy when they're cranky. So,
Yeah, I think if it was planned out, yeah, she probably did. She probably had a lunch packed or something, or maybe she didn't. Who knows? Wasn't the greatest mom. She wants you to think that she was, but in my opinion, she was not.
right.
Zane Lilly, I taught my daughter real early about real monsters being human. It's important for kids to be aware to protect themselves. Kim up here was talking about my girls know and want the missing kids found awareness. My girls are 9 and 10. My granddaughter's 8 years old. I saw her over there reading, but I didn't know she was reading Boy Missing. Just gonna say, Papa's sitting over there. He's done passed out watching TV. So yeah, and she's always. This is so cute, you guys. Okay, she has a journal here at the house that she writes her own theories in about the Kyron Horman case.
Wow. That's actually really, really like, that's
She's
amazing.
she's so smart. She is so smart.
Yeah, I mean, that she's showing that much initiative in something like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
She
it's
probably
awesome.
would have, I mean, I know Kyron himself loved investigative type stuff. He was said to have loved the CSI exhibit at OMSI. It was his favorite. He really looked up to his stepdad, who is a detective with Medford Police Department. So she has that in common with Kyron. That's sweet.
And Chuck says she was seen on the side of the road. Yes, she was seen on the side of the road, in the truck on Newberry Road, according to the book. Yeah, a witness saw her there, and she said that she might have been changing a diaper, but she didn't know where she put the diaper. So, and yeah, she loves the true crime. I told her, I was like, Boops, because that's what I call her. I'm just like, Boops, Grandma has a live tonight. I just want you to know. I was like, Dad's going to be here at 8 o'clock, but Grandma's got to start her live at 7:30. And she goes, "You're going to do a live on Kyron while I'm here?" She's been over there, ears open like this whole time. She is so upset.
My son, my 8-year-old, he also is like, "Can I ever go on there with you?" And I'm like, "Well, we do it at bedtime, buddy, but one day." And he loves to do stuff like this summer when it gets nice. He'll definitely hang flyers with me. And yeah, I love the next generation of people doing the right thing because it's the right thing to do,
Kim says crazy scenery, and then she says you can make a scary movie on those roads. You most definitely can. Absolutely. And yeah, I love the pictures that you post with the kids holding Kyron flyers. And I love the fact that we can share them publicly because you have him covering his face.
Yes, I do everything I can to keep them protected.
Chuck says that he's in British Columbia. Same type of terrain, and a lot of folks hike, fish, hunt, berry pick. So there is a risk of being seen by someone. I bet it will be close off the road. Dead weight is heavy.
Right.
I can speculate on that a little bit more, but I hate speculating about his death.
It's hard, and we never want to offend anybody that doesn't hold the same beliefs. It's just, we've shared before, at least, I'm speaking for myself. The chances are just so utterly slim. And I totally believe Terri was capable of doing that to him.
Yeah.
So that's why I will always hold out hope and always share his flyer and post it, because what do I know? I could be wrong. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm right, but that's just me saying. And, I agree. Kim mentioned also, somebody like that hiker is going to be the person that finds him one day. And yep, it's just going to happen one day
Hiker,
when it's
hunter,
meant to happen. We
biker.
don't know when. But
Yep.
one day somebody's going to explore to the right area where he is, or he'll be found. And either way, it
They're
will be
always found.
yes.
I always believe they're always found. I watch
They're
so
always
many
coming home no
shows.
matter what. You're right.
They're,
Exactly.
they're always. I mean, look at the Lindsay Baum thing. I mean, she was gone for a long time, and they ended up finding her skull on a mountain. Because
Right.
hunters were up there.
That is
It will happen. I believe
it will happen, and it will. I do too. I totally do too. And no matter what, like we shared earlier when we said it's a hard day, but it's also like, man, finally that closure, that now we can really, really seek justice for him. If they haven't already by that point.
I think I'll start crying, and I think it's going to take me a minute to stop crying.
Oh my gosh.
When it happens, because I'll be crying sad tears, happy tears. Lord knows what tears if he's actually found. I could not even. Wow. Hello. Zane Lilly says weird that Terri can type paragraphs full of overly detailed accounts. What she and KY Kyron did. I'm sorry, I'm choking on a holes. What Kyron did before she left the school, but as soon as she left Second Freddy's, she was...
Yeah, she has amnesia. That's so funny. It's so true. I know. People look to her as like, oh my gosh, what she says is, I mean, okay, I shouldn't say that. We don't believe her, but there are people that want to spread her word as being truthful. And that's a totally great point.
Did she wash up or change her clothes at the gym? The only people that know that are law enforcement, because they got footage of the gym.
They would have known. And
this was one of the things we were speculating about, because we don't even know. We're not even close to knowing the truth here.
It could have
what
been
actually happened.
That could have been a place for her to get rid of evidence. I mean, it's a public garbage. Yes.
Yep.
It's all, in my opinion, very strategic. It was all very strategic.
And, okay. Zane Lilly, is it best for the kids to know about danger? In our small town, there was a P&D and O about him. Oh, they're talking about a case up there. Okay, so on to another one. Sorry. So, this is Logie Road. This road is crazy. We're coming off of Dixie Mountain, traveling Logie Road, again, another road off of Skyline that leads down to Highway 30. Another thing that me and Kaylee noticed on our drive was that we were traveling down Skyline, getting up to Dixie Mountain, and I think we may have even been on Dixie Mountain already. Don't quote me on that. We see a sign and I freak out. This sign says Helvetia, 7 miles or something like that. Helvetia that way. And it was off to the left-hand side of the road. Well, Helvetia is where Dede's aunt lives. And her property was searched for Kyron. And it's off of Skyline. Off of Skyline. Wow. Hello.
Right.
What? I freaked out. I'm like, would you please text me that information? I need this information. I can't forget this information, because I had never noticed that
we had a running list.
Yes. I had never noticed that you could get to Helvetia from there. So yeah, I was kind of freaking out. But anyway, we get down to Logie Road. Like we said, 3 vehicles the entire time, and we only saw one on Logie Road. It actually almost head-on collision in this video, by the way. Almost. But we are super up high. Kaylee and I are just talking and speculating. I have heard, never been able to confirm, though, that Dede or one of her family members may have had property up on Logie Road. I've only heard people talk about it. I know Logie Road was searched. I know it was searched because of Terri Horman's cell phone pings. Helvetia.
So
I don't know. I could be pronouncing it wrong, Zane.
yeah,
I could. I don't know if it's Helvetia, Helvetia. I don't know, but it's hell something, right? Anyway, Helvetia. Oh yeah, because Kim likes the medium stuff, and she's got that HELL in there. Yeah, it was absolutely crazy to come down this mountain with Kaylia. As we're descending, our ears are starting to pop because we're starting to descend. This road has been searched all along the entire west side of this road. To the left, there is a deep, deep ravine, hundreds of feet down. And there were logging roads off to the side that had been cut down a couple of years ago when Tracy and I, my husband, had went and taken some other footage, and all of that was starting to grow over. So it was really nice not to see just like stumps out there. It's now just taken a couple of years. Pacific Northwest, people cut down trees, regrow them and stuff. But this is a very, very windy road. There's a lot of potholes in this road. We are going straight down. I have my foot on the brake the entire way down Highway 30.
The decline on this, really is definitely super duper steep. We purposely came the other way up Dixie Mountain and came down this road because this road is nothing but a steep, windy hill, like straight down. It's crazy.
Yeah, I told her I don't want to travel up to get this footage. I'm going to travel down because I didn't want to put that kind of, whatever on my car, because it would have been like a straight up hill to go up.
When we were on the other road that was up there, what's the name of the other road that was?
It was the Northwest Skyline Boulevard, and it meets up with Moreland Road, where the
Moreland
Red
Road.
Hall,
Yes.
which we
Moreland
actually
Road.
do have a video of that also up.
Okay, are you going to show it?
No, I didn't take video of that this time. That's one
Right.
of our older videos, but you can find it. It's the Moreland Road, and I believe it's got a picture of a gate or something. I don't know. I can post it in the group for everybody to see, but
It's
that really
worth the
creeped
look.
Kaylia out.
Yeah, that road in particular gave me bad vibes. When we sat there and I saw the gates and I saw how, like, this is dense. I feel like, I don't know, was I misremembering? I feel like Moreland Road is like twice as dense as this. It was,
Well, we were on Skyline going up. So it was the road. It was the dense area that was right off of Skyline before you actually get to
that's where it
Moreland
was.
Road.
Because
Moreland
that was
Road
dense.
is where the tree cell phone tower is. That's Moreland Road.
The new one, the one that had the double.
No, the one that looked like a tree, the great big tall one that I showed you that looked like a tree.
Yes.
And there was that big old gate. That was Fred Hall's property.
Uh-huh.
And that property, he's a horse rancher up there. And then you had that great big huge cul-de-sac where they did their command center to search up there near Moreland Road.
Right.
And then it was Skyline where those gates to those logging roads and stuff were
that were
you
very,
saw that
very
creeped you out.
Yes, because literally they were so dark in there. It was super dense. And back then, I mean, there were articles that said that the gates would be open and they could just drive right in and a vehicle would just disappear into the woods.
Yeah, and Fred Hall says that he saw a woman sitting in a truck in front of one of those logging rows. And he usually would drive by, or if he saw anything like that, he would normally like write down license plate numbers, but for some reason he didn't decide to do that. And he says he was a grumpy old man. He was really nosy from what I understand. And way up there in the middle of nowhere where not a lot of houses are, you're going to watch your property, other people's property and stuff. When you see somebody park somewhere they probably shouldn't be parking, especially if it's not an area you're supposed to be hiking or hunting in, you're going to, I mean, when I went up there and took my video, somebody was behind me and I pulled into that gate and they slowed way down. I actually thought they were going to completely stop, but I had already backed out and started moving forward, and then they started moving forward again.
But they
I
were
mean,
like,
in
"What are you
here-
doing?" Right? They're like, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
And
keeping
here in
an
the
eye on you."
video, in the video here, you could have seen kind of off to the left how far up we are. You can see the waters of the rivers that flow down around Sauvie Island. You know what? 2 vehicles actually going down
I was
Logie
gonna
Road.
say that's
not
the
the one. Yeah, because that's not the one who almost hits me.
No, the Prius was, but you know what? Still, that is barely any.
Yeah.
That's barely any. 2 cars that we passed on this road the entire time that has been playing for the last couple minutes, it feels like.
And this is also, so if you were to continue going north, when you get to Highway 30, you would be running into all the wetlands and stuff that are there next to Sauvie Island that were also searched for Kyron. And when you pass even that area, you get to the Wapato Greenway Park. And I figured that the reason why Greenway Park, that area, and Logie Road were all searched, they had to have some kind, in my opinion, some kind of technology pinpointing her right here. And it's just, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Mm-hmm. Right.
I mean, the potholes up there were even intense,
Yeah.
coming down Logie Road. And when you get down to the bottom of the road, to the left of you is Rainbow Lake. Rainbow Lake was completely searched. And then there's another road on the other side where I actually talked to somebody. And that person said that all along this telephone lines and stuff, there were a bunch of searchers, because there's this gate and there's this road. And in this road goes west down Highway 30, but it's behind a big, long area of trees. And when you're back on this road, you really aren't seen from anywhere. Not Highway 30. There's no houses and stuff along this road. It's gated up now. We couldn't see it, but he did tell me that area was searched. So all of this area, and then right from here on Highway 30 down some was another little search that I took Kalia to, where the railroad tracks are, where they actually used some searchers from Multnomah County and then some that they were actually training for, where they said that it was an evidence search. And they did that search, I believe it was around some time when Terri left town to go to the Dr. Phil show.
Yeah, I did hear that. I remember.
So
True.
right in front of here is the sloughs. You can kind of see it a little bit. You can see the water right there. To the left-hand side in this picture, that's all of the wetlands. And before, you used to be able to get back in there. It was a wild refuge place. You could go back, you could take your binoculars and everything, but it's completely shut down now. Kim's saying, what a drive. It really is a drive. The Roldoff lived in Helvetia. Yes. Zane, I've done video there. I actually drove on private property and went places I probably shouldn't have been traveling in order to get footage. But I'm actually thinking about taking grandkids there this next year because of all of the cool stuff that they got on the Roloff's farm. And
yeah, it does look
Dede
like
Spicher's aunt lives right across, not very far. I would say maybe 2 miles. Maybe 2 miles from Roloff's. All right. And then I wanted to save this one because there's a lot to go over here. I'm going to go over it all because this drives me insane. There was a sighting by Jim Kelly. Was a man that lives down 8th Avenue that's just a little bit away from the Horman home. let me get to my notes here, because I want to tell you guys what he says about this sighting. I'll read it and then we'll go over the video. So Kelly, who lives about a mile and a half downhill at the end of a winding road, secluded country lane off Cornelius Pass, said police, federal agents, K-9 teams, and helicopters scoured the area Saturday, the day after Kyron came up missing. We had 2 odd sightings of a vehicle on our road Friday, Kelly said. Around 3 p.m., he and a neighbor reported seeing a white truck with a female driver pull to the end of a long road, idle, and then turn around. Then again, at 2 a.m. Saturday, early morning, so late Friday, early Saturday morning, a similar white pickup truck appeared, idled, and then when a neighbor loosened her dog, it eased away. It was strange to have a car there, any car there, that we didn't know. And B, it was strange to have a vehicle come down our dead-end road twice in the same day, hours after a little boy goes missing, said Kelly. That's beyond rare. Kelly said authorities have twice searched the deep ravine, creek, and railroad tracks located near the end of his street by air and by foot. Now, let's talk about this, okay? We're talking 3 p.m. the same day Kyron came up missing. Kyron gets off the bus at 3:30, is supposed to get off the bus at 3:30 on the day he disappears. And there is the truck with a woman sitting in it, not a minute and a half away from their house, which you'll see in this video. It's literally a mile and a half, or a minute and a half away. It's insane that it was there, because you can stop. It says no outlet from the very moment that you pull onto 8th Avenue. So let's throw this up and we'll continue talking about it, because I'm also going to talk about somebody else that lives down this road. And we're going to talk about her son, and yeah, how they knew Kyron. Okay, so here you go, going on to 8th Avenue from Cornelius Pass. This sign says narrow bridge, no outlet. Okay, you immediately know there's no way out of this place, right? And here you can pull into a parking lot, turn around. You're going over this narrow bridge. This road has a ton of potholes, bushes on the side of the road. Back then, a couple had actually driven this in their Jeep and said that the bushes were so grown over, they were like scratching the side of the vehicle. I've been down roads like that.
Yep,
but
me too.
There's one way in and one way out. You're not, I don't know, further, we'll talk about the one way in and one way out. Here, whoa. Let me just back this up a tiny, tiny bit. So here, where this white car is parked, do you guys see how much room's here? This is a little cul-de-sac. This is probably the only place until you get to the very end of this road that you're actually going to be able to like really turn around. Big enough area, you know, to like pull around. So right in front of us here too, where the white vehicle is to the right. Okay, let me get their names. So Kim Holmes was a mom, and her son's name was Curtis, and they lived in a house right here to the right. He was a boy that Terri took a picture of with his own science fair project around the same time that she took the picture of Kyron. And she lived right back there. Where the blue dot is, whoa, I knew this was going to run too fast for me. Where the blue dot is where the Holmes family lived. That's 8th Avenue where we pulled in from the 127. That is Cornelius Pass. And where the red dot is down at the bottom, that's actually Fred Hall's house in the very end of this road. So yeah, she took a picture of Curtis around the same time that she took that picture of Kyron standing with his. Kim Holmes said that her son knew about Kyron's alleged doctor's appointment, which I found very, very curious. This is Curtis standing in front of his science fair project. And we'll get to this part here in a second. Holmes also said that the teacher had told her, I thought he left with his mom because
He had a
they
doctor's
had a
appointment.
doctor's appointment.
Yeah.
Holmes also said, so here you got Holmes saying that the teacher told her that she thought Kyron had a doctor's appointment. So here's another witness in all of this that we're sure has already talked to law enforcement, because Porter's going to have to tell law enforcement the very first day, right? I mean, that's why they're probably signing, confidential documents, because Desiree said she had to sign paperwork to get Kyron's doctor's information to know about this doctor's appointment. So anyway, Holmes also said, and then came lunchtime that day at school, Curtis ate lunch with him every day, and he noticed that Kyron wasn't there at lunchtime, which people have talked about. Kyron was supposed to come back to the school for the talent show. And I guess Curtis is noticing, I knew about the doctor's appointment, but now he's not here at lunchtime either, kind of thing. Kyron and Curtis went bowling together just days before Kyron went missing, and normally Holmes is pretty protective of Curtis, but she let him go. She said, I didn't let my kids go with anybody, and I let him go bowling that Sunday before he disappeared. Talking about Kyron disappearing, because I just trusted them. I didn't think anything about it. And Holmes and Terri knew each other. They were kind of friends because they volunteered together up at Skyline School. Holmes described Terri as a good mom. She said, I asked Curtis about Kyron's last day at school, and he told her he was happy and interacting with Terri, and that they were excited about the science fair. And here, this is a screenshot that we got, and Terri says that to this anonymous person, thank you for the information. They do need to update the list, because they're talking about a list of people that were up at the school. Looks like Kim's child was not there. And she says he was there. He also did the red-eyed tree frog because he didn't have supplies. So I gave his mom the rest of my teacher materials for him to use when she came to pick him up from bowling. I believe his is in the background of the school photo.
Yeah,
go for it.
I'm so glad that you talked all about this, because I have heard an interview or read an interview with Kyron Horman where he talks about, we have had friends come forward and say, I can't believe I let my kid spend time with her after the fact. And I believe, I have no proof, but I believe he's talking about Kyron Horman, because like she said in her own words, I don't let my kid go anywhere, and I let them go with them because I thought they were a good family. You know, everything looked perfect. If Terri did this, nobody saw it coming. I believed that I could trust her with my child. And I've always thought it was interesting that Curtis knew and told his mom, oh yeah, I knew about the doctor's appointment. It was no question to him. He wasn't worried about it. It didn't sound like when his mom was telling the news about what he said that day. And yeah, I do think, I think that it's very, very eerie that she also took a picture with him standing in front of his picture, right? Just like Kyron.
Well, she was taking a picture of all of the kids in front of,
right. It was like no thing.
I mean, if you know what you're gonna be doing, okay, let's just speculate a little bit. This is my own opinion. I can do that.
Yes.
So you have Kyron in front of his science fair project. Here's this woman who has been planning whatever for how God knows how long, okay? She's taking pictures of Kyron's friends, with Kyron, in front of Kyron's. She's taking pictures of Curtis in front of Curtis's. She's taking all these like, there are people that do things to other people and they want to have that, what do you call it? Like, some creepers want to keep underwear. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yes. Yeah.
was this her trophy? These pictures of that day? Because it creeps me out. It really
creeps me
does.
out too. I mean,
The way that she goes, the infamous picture of Kyron that I took, like, she brags about this picture that she took.
I know.
When she says that, every single time she has said it, I am not joking, the hair stands up on my arms. The way she says the infamous picture, I'm sorry. I do paint a very ugly picture of her. To me, it's ugly. I just believe that she planned it. I believe,
do too. And it
yeah,
takes an ugly person to plan to something against an innocent child for whatever, to protect your kid, your own daughter, to get back at your husband, whatever the reason. There's no utter worse person on this planet than somebody that can plan to hurt a kid, especially a kid that trusted you. You know? That's what is so messed up. And, you know, while we're talking about the photo, just because we have some viewers here and you guys might not know this, Terri took the photo at 8:44 approximately, walked right out of the school afterwards. It was one of the last things she did in the school. She took the picture of Kyron at 8:44, said goodbye to everybody, left with him out the door. He was seen with her by multiple witnesses on their way out to the truck at that time. And she posted the pictures somehow, the picture of Kyron that morning. We always hear that she went home and she posted the pictures at 1:21, but you can go and find multiple places that talk about the fact that she posted the pictures almost immediately after leaving the
yeah,
science
I think
fair.
she did it. I think she did it either in the parking lot or before she left the school or at the Fred Meyer's
Yes, I do too.
or something.
She posted it to Facebook. She also showed a random person that she only knew as a gym friend and talked briefly to in passing at the gym. She sees her at Fred Meyer with her sick daughter in her arms, and she makes a point to pull out either her phone or her camera and show her the picture of Kyron, and she shows people the picture of Kyron at the gym. This picture is 100% pivotal to something for her.
I've heard people call Terri or say that this picture that Terri took is like Terri's proof of life that she's out there showing. They call it the proof of life picture. I mean, and then in the statement that she's saying here, because we all know, like, Terri tries so hard to make herself look good. Can you even believe that she gave, Kim all of these supplies for Curtis to do his project? Can you even believe that? Or is this her trying to paint that picture of, I'm such a great person. I'm such a great mom. She was a friend of mine and I wanted to help. Because then in another way, she almost is throwing Kim under the bus, like, you couldn't afford to get projects, so I ended up helping her, blah, blah, blah. You could look at it 1,000 different ways, but I can tell you right now, she had an agenda, even posting it, even talking about it.
The whole reason that she planned to even show up there and be in everything was about the appearance to her and how she was being perceived by others. And Kane has said multiple times, the more we uncover, the more we unravel of what she was doing behind our backs, the less and less and less I recognize this person. She's a completely different person than I ever realized, because she's two-faced. She's good. She's a master of manipulation. She tricked everybody.
Yeah. This is the picture of Curtis and Kyron. Oh my God, master manipulator. You were so right, Kalia. Here's a picture of Curtis and Kyron while they were bowling the Sunday before. And I'm going to talk about this. I've always wanted to talk about it, and I've never talked about it, but I'm going to talk about it. I love Kyron. I could care less what Kyron's wearing. But do you guys see what he's wearing? This shirt's 4 times too big on him. You see multiple pictures all the time. You hear Terri say he just liked to wear big shirts and everything else. They're out in public. They're going bowling. To me, I just don't think she cared what he looked like. I don't think she tried to make him look like a nice, young, decent-looking young man. I don't think she gave two shits about what Kyron looked like. I really don't.
Yeah.
I see it too many times. And this is my personal opinion, but it's a very personal opinion to me because it really bothers me the way she dresses him. Maybe he did like big clothes. Maybe he liked wearing his big brother's clothes. But I can tell you what, and all the pictures that I see of her son and her daughter that are hers by blood, they are always dressed nice. They always look good in pictures and in everything. It's a very hard subject for me to bring this up. It hurts my feelings to even bring it up. I really, really, really hope and pray that he really liked to wear big baggy shirts, like Terri says. But for some reason, it just bothers me. And I wanted to talk about it because I wanted to see what you guys think about it. I want to know you guys' opinion. Is this just me? Because I feel like a mom that loves their child, they want them to look good. I mean, I know when I'm out with my grandkids or when I was out with my kids and we were out in public and when we were doing things and stuff, I like my kids to look nice. This doesn't look nice to me. And I'm sorry for saying that about Kyron and the way he's dressed. But he could have been wearing something that fit him better. And I don't know. I'm gonna shut up now.
No. I don't think you're invalid for that feeling one bit, because as a mother of a current second grader, they care about what they look like. My son loves picking out his outfits and has his favorite character shirts and stuff and all these things, and he knows when he doesn't feel like he's looking good. I can't imagine a second grader choosing to wear something that is 4 times too big, 5 times too big.
Looks like he's wearing an adult shirt. It doesn't even look like his brother's shirt. Like Terri says, he liked to wear his brother's shirts or big baggy. This is a ridiculous size. This is one of the only pictures that it is this ridiculous. Better than a lot of other pictures. They're pretty big. Zane says it's weird. Nobody asked about Curtis' project, just as if he was there. She went into that side story so she could make herself look better than others. Exactly.
Yes, it's always about that.
She talks like this all the time, answers hard questions with a non-answer, a short half answers with detailed stories.
Yep.
This is our mod, by the way. Zane is our mod on Facebook. She brings great information. Great information. She finds great things. We love working with her. Thank you so much for being here, for being a mod for her channel. Chuck, I bet she did that also to make her look like I'm such a great mother and I'm so involved in my stepson's school and projects. Yep. It was all about what people thought about to her.
I mean, look at his project compared to every other project in that room. It was just 100%. I am the best stepmother ever. I volunteer all the time. I'm always doing all these things. Well, then why did you walk away from your daughter? Why did you abandon your other son? Why does he describe you as abandoning him?
Yeah, and a 7-year-old did his project. Come on. He's a second grader. I know what second grade projects look like. She helped him in every single way she could to make that project because she wanted Kyron's project to stand out, which is a good thing, I guess. But she also wanted it to stand out because she wanted the attention for it standing out.
Yes, exactly. It was, yeah.
Taking the glass picture of him is just more proof, like that picture, that she was mean to him. Yep, we have a picture. It just looks like she is being mean to him. We don't know if she is or not, but it almost looks like she is. No, it's not just you. I agree, Kathy says. I'm glad it's not just me because I really hated bringing it up, but I have been thinking this for a very long time, and it's always been something that bothers me, and I just feel so comfortable talking here, and I really don't care. I shouldn't put it like I really don't care. I mean, I care what people think, but at the same time, I'm allowed to have my own opinion.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's not
And
out
it's
of
not,
line. So
yeah, and it's not any of my subscribers or my members that I'm worried about. Trust me. It's our haters that are going to really come after me for this statement. Anyway, in Desiree's pictures, I haven't noticed the big shirts. Nope. Me neither.
same. Yeah.
That's exactly what I'm
And
talking about.
the
If he
next
likes
comment,
big shirts, wouldn't he be in big shirts all the time?
yeah,
Go for it,
24/7.
Leah.
The next comment here, is it hard to bowl in such a baggy shirt? Look at the other boy. And then he also mentions, especially if it was financial or not a financial issue, Kane made good money. Yeah. And Terri, I mean, she was also, her daughter didn't look like she was ever in anything
my
that was hand me down. I mean, she may have been, but you know, they, like we said, comparing to her own blood children, Kyron just stands out like that. And is it hard to bowl in a baggy shirt? That was my thoughts. Not only would it be hard to bowl, could it be dangerous? There's a reason that they say don't wear baggy clothes when you're like, you know, doing a
sport.
yes, you know, because it can be dangerous for people. It can
You
get
bring
snagged
up
on
such
stuff.
a good, you brings up such a good point, Chuck, that I've never even thought about it, because I always thought to myself, you know what, Sam, maybe they just didn't have the money to buy school clothes, because it is really hard to keep good school clothes on your kids. But since I had actually thought that a while back ago, I have recently found out from Kalia and documents that Kane was making almost $14,000 a month. So they could afford
I was
clothes.
back in 2010, bro. Be way
Wow.
before inflation. Way before what we're going through now.
Wow, that was just kind of a red flag, like ding, 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 ding.
Yes.
Like, did she dress him like that to embarrass him, so that people would poke fun at him? How did she dress him when he went to school?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not talking about this anymore because it's just gonna piss me off. Anyway, Zane
Moving
Lilly
on.
says, yeah, almost every comment she makes ends up being narcissistic, and it's true. It's embarrassing, really. Yeah, to just watch her constantly, the narrative. At that age, most want to look like their friends, such as the other boy. Exactly. Zane Lilly, yeah, I doubt all of Kyron's clothes were James hand-me-downs. Could you imagine buying your tiny 7-year-old man-sized t-shirts?
Right.
Wow. Yep. So we talked about it. Okay, so we're going to move on. And we're going to talk more about this road leading down to Jim Kelly. So now we know that Kim Holmes and Curtis lived in a house in the same neighborhood as Jim Kelly. And then, so right here, you just take a right. This area, though, right here in front, you can turn around. Remember, this is a no outlet. You could turn around right here, because once you get back here, you're not turning around. You're going to have to back up, or the other person's going to have to back up, because it ain't a 2-lane and there's really no room to pull off
Yes.
to let somebody pass you either.
Exactly.
There's one little bitty driveway right here as you first get onto the road where you could kind of probably scoot over.
And this is a bumpy road with huge potholes throughout the entire thing. It's a 1 lane. You can see the grass right in the middle. So if there were 2 cars, there's absolutely no way to turn around. If I were somebody and I were lost, I would straight up stop right here and I would back up here. I don't know where I'm going, where this road leads me. I wouldn't go all the way to the end. I would have backed up at that one driveway and be like, okay. I missed my first, benefit of the doubt. I missed my first 2 chances to pull around easily. I'm going to at least pull in here, back out, and then turn my car around.
This is the second area right here where you could turn around if you needed to. This is like another little cul-de-sac. The thing is, at 3 p.m., the day that Kyron comes up missing, there's a truck with a woman in it sitting at the end of this road idling. And then later that night, early Saturday morning at 2 a.m., there is a similar truck, the same truck, parked at the end of the drive. Again, 2 a.m. in the morning. He may have gotten the 3 p.m. time a little bit wrong, but it was him and another woman that witnessed this. 2 people, not just him. And at 2 a.m., it just dead ends. 2 a.m. in the morning, you're going to roll out of bed when you hear a vehicle or see the lights outside. You're going to roll. You're going to know it's the end. Maybe you're up late. Who knows? But you're going to look at your clock and you're going to go, oh my God, it's 2 a.m. in the morning. Who the hell's outside? You look outside. Oh my gosh, it's that truck. It's that truck. That's weird. Because it's weird because they live in the middle of nowhere. It's weird because hardly anybody ever goes down this road. It's weird because it's the same vehicle 2 times on the day and the evening of the night, the day that Kyron comes up missing. What in the heck is going on?
With a white truck and a woman. It just, a lot of coincidences. These are just the witnesses we know about.
Right.
There may be more.
And the other witness that saw this at 2 a.m. in the morning, she's like, frig this. We're in the middle of nowhere. She let her dogs loose. And they ended up pulling away. When we were there, a dog was out running around with a man. We ended up leaving, but straight ahead, down this is a little ravine. It goes down. There's railroad tracks. There's a creek down there. This was searched twice the day after Kyron came up missing. Okay, you guys? So
they thought it was credible enough to look. Yeah.
Yeah. They hear from these witnesses. They talk to everybody that lives down here. They find that it's credible. They have helicopter. What does this say? Let me read it again. It says, Kelly said authorities have twice searched the deep ravine, creek, and railroad tracks located near the end of this street by air and by foot. And it also says Cornelius Pass, federal agents, canine, teams with helicopters scoured the area. So they searched it twice, and they sound like they did a pretty thorough search for Kyron there, and they're not going to do that unless there was a credible. Sometimes other people's speculation just does not make sense. You can't just say things like, oh, well, the woman's never came out and talked. Well, the woman didn't need to come out and talk because Fred told the story of the woman and her dogs being let loose. That's what was in the paper. That's what was talked about. That doesn't mean law enforcement didn't talk to her and all the neighbors that were there. There's the dog that we ended up seeing.
Yes,
this
so
guy's
cute.
probably looking at us like, what are you guys doing down here? But it is just so weird that a truck would be seen down this road. Now, me and Kaylia have speculated a little bit. Why would a vehicle be down here? At 3 p.m., Terri is at home. She's getting ready to go down to the bus to get Kyron off with Kane. It's not her sitting in the truck. Okay, 2 a.m. in the morning. Terri is at home. It's 2 a.m. and law enforcement's there. She ain't leaving that house.
No
She
way.
couldn't leave that house. No way it's going to happen. So there's only one other woman involved in this, right? They said possibly 3 people could be involved. Maybe the third person's a woman. Never really even thought about that till now. But could it have been Dede Spicher? What was she doing down there? We've talked about it being so close to the Horman home. We know that they had burner phones 2 different times. Were the burner phones not working for whatever reason? We know it was pissing rain the day that Kyron came up missing until later in the afternoon. We know it was pissing rain days and days after. Was the rain, the reception, phone, something not working right? Did Dede have to come all the way down this road to get a hold of Terri? Kane says in a 20... tell them what Kane says in that interview about Terri walking back up when they go down to the bus stop.
When he said that they went down to walk to the bus stop, him, their baby, and Terri, she broke free up and ran back up to the house and said, "Oh, I forgot something," and went back to the house and then came back down. He doesn't talk about or elaborate on how much time she spent apart. But he said he did go up back to the house for a minute, came back, or didn't even mention a minute, just went back to the house and then came back down and met us. So we are left to wonder how much time, if it was just a minute, if it was 3 minutes, was it enough to send a quick text? Was it enough to make a quick walkie-talkie?
Yeah.
Okay,
What
it's
is
going down.
so important? What is so important that she had to go back up, that she couldn't wait till Kyron got off the bus or whatever? What
The
was so important?
last, we good, bro? Because it's about to go down.
Yeah, that's what I think too.
Yep.
There was some kind of last phone call on a burner phone that she couldn't get out in front of Kane, a text message, a something, just saying, "Hey, I forgot to get a hold of you.
You know what's
We're
weird?
headed down to the bus stop right now."
There's a white truck in that right there in front of us.
Oh, good God. No, don't creep me out.
Oh my
No,
goodness.
but yeah, it just makes you wonder what was so important that she couldn't wait. That's my thing with her going
I
back
know.
up. Okay.
Very, very peculiar. And you
And then
know
we
what?
also know, I'm
I
sorry.
want to know. I think that's important because Desiree pointed out that this is new information. When this came out, Desiree said, Kane is talking about something new. I watched the whole thing, and the only thing new that I heard was that little tidbit right there.
Yeah.
And I believe that, you know, it's just another, we don't know everything that happened. We still don't have any idea. And that's what's crazy to me. I mean, like we talked about, Terri would rather live under this cloud of suspicion. Now's her time. Everybody's watching what she's going to say, go prove herself innocent. And she still is being so obtuse with her answers and evasive and purposely avoiding. And yeah.
Would you do me a favor, Kalia? Look
Yes.
on your book and tell me what you can find about 2 a.m. in the morning, because for some reason right now I'm starting to remember, so 2 a.m. in the morning is when the second sighting was. It was late on the 4th, early morning, 2 a.m. the 5th. Isn't it mentioned somewhere in the book that at 2 a.m. or around 2 a.m. that Desiree and Tony have to go up to the school for their interviews?
Let's see.
Because if that's true, and they did leave the house, yes, there would have been law enforcement and stuff there, but I mean, it's late. I know Kane probably wasn't getting any sleep. I'm just saying, less suspicion on her or something. Could that have been the reason for, like, I don't know, text message, phone call to this person parked down here 2 a.m. in the morning? It's where it talks about that Tony and Desiree had to go to the school.
I'm trying to find it, not having luck.
To be questioned, interviewed. Well, she's looking for that, though. So I added a clip from another video that I did before to this cap cut, and that's why it's going to look different. That's why it's going to be a little bit rainy. But I wanted to show you guys how long it takes to get from this 8th Avenue to the Horman house. That's how close it is. The blue line right there is Sheltered Nook Road. And then down below at the bottom is the 8th Avenue, 6th Avenue down here where Jim Kelly lived. Let's just see what everything's going on over here. Folks who have
I did find it when we're done.
Okay. Folks who live out in the country are private people. They notice everything and anything out of routine or place and will be remembered. Exactly. Maybe she went to get black pepper or cayenne pepper to make sure she looked like she was crying and so upset. That's, wow. Never even thought about that. I mean, putting those items in her eyes. I wonder what her behavior was like when he didn't get off of the bus. I wondered the same thing. I've actually wondered if they always went down and walked to the bus at the same time all the time, or was she just trying to see what the reaction of Kane was when they went down. Zane
Well,
Lilly says, I remember every random vehicle I see parked on my rural road because it rarely happens. And when you live that rural, you hardly ever even have guests because you are so far out.
Right. I want to comment on the. I wonder what her behavior was like when he didn't get off the bus. Um, I have heard Kane say that he didn't think it was abnormal. So she did a good job not freaking out at that time. But I will say that Blink on Crime, who I always say, I don't believe Blink on Crime is credible. I think it's important to talk about Blink on Crime's information because she got a lot of her information from Terri. So she's sharing fake information Terri told her. And that's what I believe. And Blink on Crime said that Terri and Miss Porter got in a confrontation when they got to the school. So anyway, I know I'm kind of getting off track, but the behavior at the bus stop, according to Kane, was normal. He didn't see anything that would have led him to be suspicious right then.
Yeah, Kim says that maybe she was nervous and went back to the house because she was nervous. I don't see her being nervous. I really think that she has like zero emotion. Zane says, moved out of state, changed her name, lives her life with Kyron. Like Kyron isn't missing. She has never helped to try find him and spends his time worried about him, what random people on the internet think about her.
Yeah, she really does.
And spends her time worried about what random people think about her on the internet.
I mean, we're not even exaggerating. She belittles people that question things or point out things that make her look bad, even if they're true. And will Facebook stalk people and say creepy stuff to them to like make them feel unwelcome. It's very bizarre, very, very bizarre behavior. We have tons of I guess I'm just gonna say screenshots
Right.
in our group. Go ahead and join our group and go look through it because man, the gaslighting is real.
Yeah, you don't have to go over to the other group to see Terri Horman. You can come to our group because we've got all those screenshots too.
Yep.
You don't have to bother even dealing with all that. What does the book say about them going up to the school approximate time?
The book exact quote, it says, it never occurred to Desiree that they would stay all night at Kane's. I thought we were going to find Kyron, she said later. At about 2 a.m., Desiree and Tony were taken to the command center at the school. It was emotional for Desiree when she saw the principal had elected to stay at the scene of Kyron's disappearance. It made her son's disappearance real. So he'd stayed all night.
Oh my God. They left at 2 o'clock and there's a sighting of a truck at 2 o'clock. If Terri knew that they were going to be leaving to go give their interview, she would have, I don't know, alerted someone and been like, hey, go down to the end of the road. I can talk to you at 2 a.m. or something. I don't know. I mean, if they're not getting reception and stuff, that kind of doesn't make sense. Make this make sense for me. Hello. We're talking at 2 a.m. This truck's down there. And at 2 a.m. they leave to go to the school. They're not going to be there. Desiree's had her eyes on Terri like a hawk this whole time. So can you guys see it now? She's fixing to leave. Terry's thinking to herself, now's my time that I can either A, B, C, D, like X, Y, Z, or whatever you want to say. Oh my gosh, she's going to not be here. I can do this, this, and this, or something. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Wow. I got chills. That's weird.
Yeah, she might have tossed something at 2 a.m. Who knows, right?
That is just weird. Oh, I forgot about your Facebook group. Do you have the link, please? It is Kyron Horman Case Revisited on Facebook. You got the link, Kaylia? Can you put it up?
I should.
I'm going to go ahead and play this video. Like I said, I added another clip, so it wasn't taken from this day, but I want to show you guys how close the Horman house is to this 8th Avenue because I really think something with this truck. I've always thought it. I'm going to keep following my gut until someone can prove me wrong, because the other suspicious thing I find out about this, they search that area, they talk to neighbors and everything else. Nobody comes forward and says, hey, that was me. I was parked on the truck. I was parked down there.
Right.
Well,
Suspicious.
maybe somebody did and we don't know that they did,
Yeah.
and only law enforcement knows. But I'm just saying, I've never heard it debunked at all. So right here, as I'm about to turn this corner, you can see the straightaway yellow and the green sign to the right-hand side, where underneath or above the garbage cans. That's the 8th Avenue Road. This is how long it takes to get to the Horman house. It's only around a couple of short or curvy roads. I'm on Cornelius Pass now. I'm traveling north. It's another road that actually leads down to Highway 30. That's why I speculate that she had plenty of time. She could have went to the house. She could have changed clothes, showered, any of that. Thanks for throwing that up, love. And then right here's the sign. Right there's the sign to Sheltered Nook Road. You're around 2 curves. And then you're on Sheltered Nook Road. By the way, I'm going to stop right here for just a second. Keep in mind, it didn't take very long. The bus stop thing has been getting talked about. Kyron's bus stop being on Cornelius Pass Road. If you're on Sheltered Nook Road and you're about to pull on to Cornelius Pass, I'm telling you right now, you can see right there the blind spot. Not only is it coming uphill, it's coming around a corner, and I don't ever believe that they would put a bus stop right here on this corner of Sheltered Nook Road and Cornelius Pass. Terri is claiming that she got a hold of the school and had this bus stop changed to be in front of the mailboxes. Now you have Tanner Pramala, who lived back behind where Kyron lived, and other children in this neighborhood, and you're to tell me that they're going to have to walk all the way down this Sheltered Nook downhill road to get down to Cornelius Pass to get on the bus. Really? And I mean, Tanner lives a little bit past Kyron's house too. I mean, it's not really, really super far, but it's not very close. Not real close. And then this is the mailboxes where she's talking about the bus stop actually being, which I believe is where the bus stop always was. I don't believe that she made. This is my own opinion. I don't believe that she called anybody to have it changed, because I do not believe that they would ever put a bus stop out there. And by the way, when we left there, because me and Kaylee were talking about this, when we left there and was traveling, everywhere there was a bus stop on Cornelius Pass Road, there were bus stop signs.
Yeah.
And there's not a bus stop sign anywhere near Sheltered Nook.
Right.
Just
And
FYI.
you know what? While I have you guys here on the live, I'm just curious, because that popped to my head that we were talking about the fact that we saw the bus stop sign on Cornelius Pass Road to let drivers know, drive safe, don't be driving like crazy. And I'm looking at Google Street, which was taken 2007, which would have been before even they moved there, and there are no bus stop signs. And I know there would be, because I know they have had bus stop signs forever. You know what I mean? I believe that the bus has always turned down Sheltered Nook Road and picked up kids that lived up there.
I want to go ahead and just add this back on. We can still talk. I just want to show everybody the whole thing, because I did pause. But it is not very far, that sighting of that truck down that road from Sheltered Nook Road. It's just not. And that's one of the reasons why I always thought it was suspicious. But after I went up there and realized how close it was, is when other theories and speculation started coming in, wondering about why anybody would be down the road at the times that they were. And that's when Kaylee had told me that Terri went back to the house, and I was like, what? During that time? That's when that truck was down there, and I freaked out about it. And now I'm freaking out because Terri Desiree and Tony were leaving the house at 2 a.m. I really believe that there's something important here. But yeah, this is how close it is to 8th Avenue. And I find it very strange and unusual, a vehicle being that not kind of like rule road twice in one day. And this is the area where Kyron lived. It wasn't a house, one right after another, basketball hoops, carports, all this and that, and driveways in the middle of nowhere. This is the gravel road right there to the left. Whoops. Right behind those garbage cans that goes up, 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 and it goes straight up to Kane's house. It's a uphill.
They lived
little
on
road.
like 5 acres of property. It was it had like a shop. It had outbuildings. It probably, you know, if you look up the zoning, it's probably agricultural or timber. It's definitely rural. It's
And
actually
then-
like, you know, I would love to live out there. Very beautiful area.
It is so beautiful out there. The last thing that we have to go over that really, I took a video of it and then I didn't like the video. So then I did a maps view of it because I think the maps view actually gives you a better perspective because my video sucked because the only good view I could get was from the middle of Highway 30, parked in the little, like, I don't know, the middle of the road, literally. But we're going to talk about the 7-Eleven on Highway 30. The 7-Eleven on Highway 30 that Terri says that some man in a white Ford van pulls up to the 7-Eleven the day before Kyron came up missing on the 3rd, says that
Where's the
Yeah.
nearest school?
that he walks in, he's talking to employees, and he wants to know where the nearest school is. So that way is St. Helens, Highway 30 east. I'm just kind of giving you guys an idea of the area. And you would be traveling this way to go to Cornelius Pass Road, and the 7-Eleven would be on your right-hand side if you were traveling west on Highway 30. It's not, whoops. It doesn't have a gas station. It doesn't have anything and barely has any parking spots. It's a very, very, very old 7-Eleven. It's the only 7-Eleven on all of Highway 30. All the way into St. Helens and even further down west, even all the way down on Highway 30, all the way to the beach, there is no other 7-Eleven. This is the only one, and it's a little over 4 miles to Skyline Elementary School. But Terri says that this guy, when he goes in, wants to know where the nearest school is. For one, I just have a couple things here. For one, the employees at a store, a man comes in wanting to know where the nearest school is. Wouldn't you be thinking, why does this guy want to know where the nearest school is? Would you literally tell him where the nearest school is? Would you really? Being an employee with there being pews at schools and everything else and crazy people that are just crazy that go into schools and just do what they do.
When you say,
No.
I don't know, man, you know,
Yeah,
don't
that's
know,
what I'd
man.
be saying.
right.
Man, I don't even know about no schools around here or something, right?
Yes.
But she says that they told him Skyline Elementary School was the closest school.
Basically
Well-
handing this mysterious man Kyron on a platter. Terry's insinuating.
Because she thinks that he was taken from the school, which Kayla's going to read us something here shortly. So if you keep traveling west that way, you'll run into several miles up the road. You'll run into the Sauvie Island Bridge. You go a little bit further past that, a couple miles. There's the cell phone tower on the right-hand side of the road that is in that area. It's not on Sauvie Island. And then if you took a left right there, you'd be on Cornelius Pass Road. So that's Highway 30. This is the 7-Eleven. Detective Tabor mentions that this is something that's get mentioned all the time, and I'm assuming it's because she talks about the 7-Eleven and that somebody from here. Detective Tabor said this happened months before Kyron came up missing. Okay, it didn't happen on the 3rd. It didn't happen, and guess what? That's not my opinion. I'm just going to believe Detective Tabor over Terri. Okay.
Absolutely.
Like, that's what he said. I'm sticking to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. He just gets asked this all the time about what about the 7-Eleven? What about the guy at the 7-Eleven? And it's frustrating for him because it's something that's asked all the time, he said. So there you have it. That's the 7-Eleven. Kaylia actually found some information, though, that I decided to throw up and add to my little cap cut here. Hi, 7-Eleven. This is a map. And is it the red dot where the 7-Eleven is?
The yellow dot is 7-Eleven, and the reddish orangish dot is Skyline School. And there's 2 routes you could go. The top one being 14 and the bottom one being 16 minutes.
Okay, so where the white rectangle is, the reddish orangish colored dot there is Skyline. And then on the long straightaway is Highway 30, where the other orange dot is, that is the 7-Eleven. Well, guess what? It's over 4 miles to get there, like I said, and it's not the nearest school.
It's actually, it's 8 miles, it looks like.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Is that what it said?
Yeah, 8 point something miles. And then this one is 4 point something. It's half the distance.
Wow. And then, she found this one. This is the nearest school. It's actually on Savvy Island, and it's a kindergarten through 8th grade. It was changed to that, but that's the closest school. So, I mean, if a 7-Eleven employee really wants to tell them where the nearest school is, they're going to say this is the nearest school. But you know what? A 7-Eleven employee, come on, they're not going to tell them where the nearest school is, I don't think.
No.
Me being an employee at 7-Eleven, I'm not going to. That's just me.
Right. I can imagine myself saying,
I am.
Just no, I don't know. I have no idea, dude. Why are you asking me that?
I'm a little bit suspicious of everything and everybody, and I guess it's just so while the 7-Eleven is showing, Kaylia, tell the story about the 7-Eleven and what Terri tells Dr. Phil.
Do you want me to play it or read it?
Oh no, play the funny voices. I thought that shit was hilarious. And if I get one of those things, I'll just take the sound out or something. At least everybody that's here on the live can hear it. She changed the voices in the little recording thing that she used. So just let us know when Dr. Phil's talking and when Terry's talking.
Okay. This is the beginning. This is going to be Dr. Phil. Here we go.
I guess time has passed and we have to deal with the reality. As time passes, odds go down. But I'm curious, what do you think happened to Kyron?
Okay, now here's Terri. And this is not going to pause it until it's Dr. Phil again.
I think that somebody came in the school and took him. One of the exonerating things that our public's not familiar aware of is the day before, on June 3rd, when I was completely someplace else at the doctor's, at the gym. There was a man in a white pickup truck, Ford, and it was parked at 7-Eleven on Highway 30, which is near the school. He was acting very strangely, and he was addressed by one of the employees there that came out and asked him what he was doing, because he'd been pacing back and forth in front of the 7-Eleven for about an hour. And he went over to find out what's going on, and the guy, I'm not sure what the entire conversation was about, but I do know from a couple of these witnesses that this man asked the employee where the nearest school is, and that employee told him Skyline, and this is the day before. After all this happened, another employee that was working there that day, she had contacted the police and said, hey, there was a strange guy here. We got a tape of it. Would you like to come see it? The cops went over there, they viewed the tape, and she asked them, would you like the tape? And they said, no, we're good. They didn't even take the tape. But, these are witnesses that said otherwise. As far as what my concern is that somebody else has come to school, it was open. The protocol is you're supposed to have only the front door unlocked, and all the doors were unlocked. And roughly, from what I understand, about 400 people came in and out of that school. No badges, no signing in or out. So, do you think Kyron will ever be found?
Okay. That was Terri rambling and rambling and rambling.
Oh, I took notes.
And she was, her eyes were fluttering.
Oh, yeah.
You can go and type this in on Google yourself. And like we said, we just don't want to get copyright.
Well, we can post it over on our Facebook group and you guys can go watch it. I'll throw the link up after she puts it up on Facebook and share it in the community on YouTube. You just have to go to our YouTube channel and then scroll over some and you'll see the community page. Click on it and you can see all of our stuff there in the community. But yeah, First of all, she says it's near the school, and it's not near the school. It's quite a ways away from the school. And then she says that the employee comes out and asks him what he's doing there because he's pacing back and forth and everything else. So you got this guy who's acting really weird and strange, and he's pacing all around, walking back and forth and everything else. And then when he asks you where the nearest school is, you're going to tell him? Come on.
Yeah, it just definitely is okay. On top of that, guys, because I wasn't sure if we were going to be able to show the video or what, but then I figured out, let's just change the voice. I did pause it and pause it and pause it and write it down. And let me just say, my brain does process things differently when I'm reading it than when I'm listening to it. And I'm sitting here in front of the entire transcript of what she said, and there are tons of things that stand out to me. One thing that I would like to just point out as a local, 7-Elevens don't normally have more than one employee working. My local 7-Eleven here in Oregon City doesn't. It has one employee working like
good point
24/7. And this one is super rural. You can't tell me that they would have multiple employees there.
They hardly have any parking spots.
Right. So that's the first thing that I just noticed from what she's saying, is that there were multiple employees that noticed this, when my experience with every local 7-Eleven in freaking Oregon I've ever been to, there's one person working. So then another thing that I'm, let me just skim through what she says here is, first, she stammers a ton. Just like Zane Lilly says, she makes a point to say, when I was completely somewhere else at the doctor's and at the gym, because her thing is that she did the exact same thing on June 3rd as she did on June 4th. If that's true, why don't you remember where you were driving? You know, why are you changing your story so much? Why is it so hard for you to remember if you said, oh yeah, I did the exact same thing 2 days in a row? If you loved it so much, you must have remembered what you did.
Right. And if you did the exact same thing, why can't you remember?
Yes. And then again, let's see here. The person already was so concerned that she says that they went out there and asked him, what are you doing? Yet when he asked them, well, where's the nearest school? They're going to just go tell them Skyline. Like we said, does that make sense? Does that sound believable? No, they were concerned that there was they were probably told him, you got to go, dude. They wouldn't go say, go to Skyline, dude. Come on. We're not dumb. And I hate this rumor too. And if, in fact, I'm going to do more digging on it. Let's see what else.
One of the notes that I took is that she says something about they come forward and tell law enforcement that they have a tape at this guy up at the 7-Eleven. Do you guys want to come and get it? And she says law enforcement didn't want to go and get it. Well, I know from the first time I talked to Detective Tabor about this, that it happened a couple of months, or it came, his exact, well, not exact, I can't remember it exact, but he said something to, that happened months before Kyron disappeared, and there was nothing that we were interested in on the tape. So the fact that they didn't look at it, that doesn't go with what I know.
Yeah.
Or what I was told.
Exactly. It just is a convenient thing. But I will say that one thing is that she likes to point out all the time that, or her rumor is that the school has lost Kyron on multiple occasions and that he's wandered off before. No one else has ever confirmed that is true. That's completely hearsay from somebody that's proven to be a liar. And second of all,
I recently read an article where law enforcement actually said that they don't believe that Kyron had wandered off at all. Desiree says he's not prone to walking off and wandering off because his eyesight's not good and it scares him to be away from people.
Yes, and while Terry's here, when she straight up from Dr. Phil, he's asked, what do you think happened to Kyron? The first words out of her mouth is, I think that somebody came into the school and took him. She doesn't believe that.
Terri Horman.
Yes, right, exactly.
She pretty much says exactly what happened, only it's her that she's talking about.
Yeah. It's crazy. I know. This rumor is just a crazy one. When I saw the 7-Eleven, I for some reason I've been to tons of 7-Eleven, but this one is a teeny tiny little one, just barely any parking. And she said he paced outside for an hour. 1
Yeah.
hour. That's a long time to just let a crazy person pace out front that you're concerned about.
When we were going down Highway 30, I was like, oh, by the way, that's the 7-Eleven. And she goes, what? I'm like, yeah,
Yes.
that's the only one. She just could not believe that was the 7-Eleven. It was
Oh
like,
my
yeah, that was
gosh.
the one. And something else she says that I took notes. She says something about there being like 400 people up at the school. They were just wandering around. The doors were open. Nobody had badges or anything else. We actually just read in one of our last lives that we did, talking about law enforcement and everything else, that because there were so many people coming and going to the science fair, they did not have badges, but everybody knows everybody in this community, and they weren't really worried about it being a stranger. I mean, it's been said multiple times, a stranger did not do this. They've looked into it. It wasn't any kind of RSOs. They've been looked into. For her to say this and actually lie that it was the day before just blows me away, because what I think happened, she knew about this guy up at 7-Eleven and that it actually really did happen. Okay, it really did happen, but it didn't happen when she said. And I think she just,
Ran with it.
remember that and ran with it, knowing that people in the community would remember.
And
Some
there's
guy
no-
up at the 7-Eleven really was asking about the school. Oh my
Oh.
God. And get all worked out. And then her story is believed, and then this rumor's created and people are talking about it, but nobody paid attention to the detail of, she said it was the day before when it wasn't.
Well, can I tell you something? Terri Horman is responsible for so many rumors. She spread so many rumors. She spread a rumor on that Dr. Phil that the landscaper recanted his testimony. There's nothing in there that said anything about him recanting his testimony in the deposition at all. She's responsible for plenty of the rumors that deflect. We have all the lives about controlling the narrative, right? What she wasn't prepared for is somebody and a group of people like you, me, and our partners that work together and get to the bottom of things. Like I've always said, if it's the last thing I do, it's get to the bottom of something.
Right.
And I'm going to
let's
look
get
into things.
Yeah, and we need to get to the bottom of as many things as we possibly can, to just throw it in the garbage and toss it aside and be over
Move
the
on.
rumor and move
Yes.
on and stop talking about it. We're accused of talking about the same things that's been talked about for 13 years. Well, guess what? There's been Terry supporters for 13 or 14 years too, and they've all been saying the same damn thing. Just as much.
Yeah. And we've
The only
crumpled up so much
difference is-
shit and flown it into the garbage because it's nonsense. And
Yeah.
Kyron's case deserves better, and it's the right thing to do. And we're going to be here, keep doing it. That's why I'm so grateful to have a community of people that, want to support us while we're doing that and going full steam ahead. I mean, Samantha and I and Heidi too, between the three of us, put so many hours into research, and I mean on a daily basis, on a day in and day out basis. It is a daily, and
I
there's
spend my
nobody.
morning doing research. I spend my evening after hubby falls asleep doing research. Kaylia does some early morning when she gets a chance during the day and evening. Heidi throughout the day too. Yeah, there's a lot of hours.
And don't
Yeah,
get it twisted, we love it. We're the weirdos that love it. It's something we actually absolutely enjoy to do. That's why we really appreciate the support, and I'm grateful that Samantha has this group that she created, the Kyron Horman case revisited, because honestly, even if there ever is a time where it's like, my priorities have to get shifted because you never know what life brings you and dishes you sometimes, there will always be this digital footprint that an impact that people can go to and search in our group and find the sources that prove that these things are lies and that these are lies spread by Terri. And why the heck would she be doing this if she cared about Kyron?
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say earlier. That's the difference between us and them. We have receipts. We know what law enforcement has said. We know that there is circumstantial evidence, real evidence. We now know there's thousands and thousands of emails. We know that there's thousands and thousands of telephone pings and cell phone tower things and all of this technical digital information that they have that they're still going through. Technology is only getting better. Things will eventually, you know, play out. On June 5th, Zane says she was emailing people telling them that he had been having many seizures and walking into rooms and staring for long time and walking out. And that's true. And his parents said they saw nothing of that. The only thing that Kane said was that he was tired because baby Sissy had an earache and was keeping the whole house up, but he hadn't noticed anything strange going on with Kyron whatsoever. Chuck, if the manager was there, it should have been called in after noting his question. The police would have watched the tape and requested 7-Eleven to send them that part of the tape. Exactly. They're not just going to let it go when he's asking about a school, especially with the pew stuff that goes on at schools in the United States.
And then freaking the biggest investigation in Oregon's history for a child that goes missing from a school right up the road. They wouldn't just be like, "Oh, no, bro, I don't need that." Like, come on, we're not dumb.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Zane Lilly, she was trying to blame his being missing on him having these seizures that no one else ever saw Kyron have. Exactly. You know, she even posted on her Facebook once a picture of the whole entire classroom. And this was just a few months before he came up missing. It's a picture of his entire classroom. And then on her post, when she posted, "Oh my gosh, where's Kyron? Oh, he must have wandered off to the bathroom again." I feel like she posted that because it was part of her planning to say, "Look, he always wanders off." Because
Oh, yeah.
she's always talking about him wandering off to the bathroom to get a drink of water, to go to the bathroom. Him and his friend wandered off once. She's the only one saying this and talking about it. And she'll say she's the only one because the other two parents weren't around. It's not true. Kane was around. Kane did go to the school. He did go to conferences. He goes to the school with his daughter now and takes her back and forth to school and everything else. He was an involved parent. He didn't work every single day, 8 hours a day at work at Intel. He worked from home and at Intel.
And
He was a part of their lives.
You know what? Even if not, why wouldn't she tell him? I mean, I would still tell my husband everything and he would be completely aware of the situation. Like, that makes still nothing she says makes sense if you actually rationally think about it. It all just is deflection, 150%.
And Zane says, people have been looking into other leads since day one. They are all dead ends, but we still sometimes discuss them and look into them. Again, yes, we do. In recent weeks, looking into information and stuff again, always. Because if there's that one thing, you know, that you can find in something, then you got to run with it. You got to, you know, look into it again, especially if you hear something new going with it, going, "Oh, maybe I should go back and look at this." But yeah, this is the 7-Eleven. That's all of the videos that I took. I was really, really happy to meet Kaylia. That was a great fun day. We ended up getting coffee. We ran around for hours and hours and hours. Our husbands were like, "Get out of Dodge." No. Our husbands were just so cool.
It actually, yeah, it worked out perfect because, my schedule, I am busy being a mom. You're busy with your grandkids and your family too. And you just called me on a whim, and it just so happened that my kids were going off to my parents' house. I was free. It was just perfect. And yeah, I was really grateful to finally be able to meet you, give you a hug, and just really put boots on the ground with you.
Yeah, and then I loved meeting you. I mean, I already feel like I know you so much anyway.
Right.
It was like it was just the in-person thing, but just having you there with me there talking about it while we were there and everything else, something else we get back to my house and stuff when we start talking about our day and Kaylee, we got up to the school. I wanted to show her the school and Kyron's bench and his brick up there, which by the way, you guys, they've done an amazing job fixing up the school. The landscape was good. I'm constantly getting messages about the school and how gross it is and that they need to weed eat and do all of this stuff. It actually looked really nice. They were planting gardens. They had flowers and
Yep.
stuff.
Lots of
But
tulips around. It was so pretty.
she was talking about the school when we got back here, and she was just like, it was creeping me out being
I
up there
was.
at the school. The tetherball pole was in the middle of the playground, and the chain that was on it, because it was windy, was just like cling,
It was
cling.
clinking just perfectly, like, and it didn't stop. And I was like thinking to myself, if I just sat here and recorded that with nothing else around with this school, this like old brick school, and you just know you have that same, especially because it's my first time actually being there in person, I have those heavy vibes. I'm thinking to myself, man, if I just sat here and recorded this, it would feel like the intro to like a scary movie.
Yeah, she got creeped out. I mean, and I was telling her, like, every time I go up there, every time I go up the steps to Skyline, every time I walk down the parking lot to get back down to my vehicle, it's like you're just retracing. You're walking in the same spot where Kyron
Right.
once stepped, It brings you that much more closer to him, the case
Yes.
and everything. It gives you a whole new perspective. So that was one of the real reasons why I wanted to take you up there so that you
I did
had.
love going. I mean, don't get me wrong. I do
Oh, I
have,
know. I
I
know.
loved it, and I loved being able to like stand underneath the window of Kyron's classroom and really just, I've said it before, like send my intentions and my love to Kyron, his spirit, wherever he is, and honor him. And that felt amazing. But I don't like thinking about Terri Horman and the scary thing that she probably did to Kyron. It just freaks me out. And knowing that she planned to walk right out of there and that's exactly what she did. Yeah, it's just overwhelming.
When I first went up there for the first time, I felt the same kind of overwhelming, kind of almost eerie, kind of like what Susie is saying here, feeling, because I was up there and I know that he left with her there and all this and that. But now when I go up there and we sit on the bench and we eat our lunch, or me and Tracy just sit up there and talk, or we sit there and we look at the playground, and I just imagine him being out there playing on the playground, having a great time there at the school, visiting with his friends, talking with his teachers, running through, doing all of these kid-like things. And it just, I don't know.
Yeah, right.
To
It's
me,
special.
it is great word for it. Just a really, really special thing for me. I love going up to the school. Usually when I go up there, I spend more time at the school than I do anywhere. And I just retrace tracks and just retrace and what could be seen and what could have happened. And, could she have walked here? Could she have walked there? Why did she pull up Access Road? Why would she do that? Was there a third person in the truck? Why did she wash his backpack? There's just so many little things. And when you're up there, or like when I drew a blank a couple months ago, it was really hard to start coming up with lives again. And those are the times that I want to go put my feet on the ground and go,
Right.
okay, I'm here. Let me get another perspective. Let me, walk around the area. Let me think about Kyron. Let me just think. And the next thing you know, I've got 10 more lives. Because I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, this, oh my gosh, that. Or every time I go up there, I'm like, what other video am I going to take? Oh my gosh, I've taken a video of almost everything. But every single time I go, I see one more thing I haven't taken a video of. And I go, oh my gosh, I know. click, and that's what happens. So yeah, it gives you a perspective, and now the conversations that we're able to have because you've been up there too gives us a lot more room to
Yes.
speculate about things and stuff, and so that's really awesome.
I agree totally. You know, while we're talking about lives coming up and live ideas, there's one that I've been working on for a while, and I think people might be interested in it. It's kind of maybe not super similar to what we're talking about now, but it's a lot about land and like history and things like that. Do you know where I'm going with this, Samantha? Should I give them a hint? Should I say anything about that?
No, go for it.
Something that somebody shared with us is that Terri allegedly. Well, you know what? I'll save that bit for a little later for another live. But Terri's family, her family that she was adopted into, the Moulton family, has a rich family history in California, and they had acres and acres and acres, like huge acres, and they even had land that was turned into a state highway down there. Yeah, so that's something that we're going to get into, is that, there's a reason somebody gave us a tip, I will say, of something that Terri said to somebody or did with somebody that was related to her family history in California. And we're going to do a dive on that. So,
Oh yeah, very, very big deep dive on Terri
it's
Horman.
very
Past-
interesting.
Yeah, that is going to be so much fun. And at the end of every month, we're going to be doing member only lives. So yeah, become a member so you can join those lives if you want to. If not, it's perfectly fine. And those lives are just going to be fun lives. If you're interested in the Kyron Horman case, Michael Vaughn case, maybe we'll even add Madeline Soto, since she was another one. They're just going to be like, we're going to play like a trivia game with true crime and see what everybody knows. It's going to be kind of like game night, and maybe we won't even be talking about those kids. Maybe it'd be like the real trivia game or something like that. But we just want to have a night where we can kick back, we can relax, get to know our members, let them get to know us, laugh, giggle, take our minds off such serious things that we do and talk about all the time, and have fun with our members. Also, members can also be looking out on the community page for court documents. That's where I'm putting a lot of them. They're also in our group on Facebook, Kyron Horman Case Revisited. So you can go to either place there. And yeah, we really, really appreciate everybody being here. If you haven't already, hit that like, subscribe. Well, you're here, so you've already subscribed. Become a member. And if you want, you can even donate money to the Cash App. We use that for just equipment, really. So
Yeah, equipment.
there
and
you
the
have
court
it.
docs.
Yep.
Thank
But,
you all for joining. It was another good one, almost 3 hours, just a little shy. We hope to see you guys next Thursday on our next live. Not sure if it's going to be on Terri Horman yet, if we'll be quite ready or not, but yes, we'll see you next Thursday.
Yep, I'm going to play a little video for Kyron. Really appreciate you guys being here. Have the great rest of your week. I'm going to go visit grandbabies tomorrow that came into town. Oh, and if you know anything about Kyron Horman's disappearance, if you saw anything, no tip is too small, please call the tip line at 503-988-0560. Even if it wasn't on June 4, 2010, the day that he came up missing, Terri was also driving a truck the day before. She drives her Mustang. And even if it wasn't Terri Horman and it was some other kind of tip that you feel like you need to share, please call, whether it was on June 4th, 2010 or days surrounding. And there's a $50,000 reward for any information that goes somewhere. So just just remember that, and no tips too small. 503-988-0560. Thanks, Kaylia, for joining again. I love having you here always.
Absolutely. Thank you. Love our partnership. I love you all for joining us and have a great upcoming weekend.
Talk to you guys later. Bye bye.